is on the field numerous times today on fourth down. What an effort, though, by your quarterback.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
This is on the field numerous times today on fourth.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the podcast. Yes, it's the eye test. We are here in the building, and as you can see, I'm hyped today. We won. That's right. People said it was our Super Bowl, but it was just a regular season game for us. Because you want to know why, Sean? Do you want to know why, Sean?
I actually don't, but go ahead and tell us anyway. Something tells me you'll tell us.
Because they could never, ever get on my level. Hey, baby, feeling good today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. You're displaying a level of confidence in your team that you weren't displaying on Sunday. I just happened to know it.
Oh, no. Slow it down, my boy. Because my level of confidence, I'm displaying adulation and joy. But I'm not displaying a level of confidence. I always expected the Eagles to win. That's why I picked them to win. You know what I'm saying? And I've said that their team played better than us, and we'll get into all that. But the fact of the matter is that at the end of the day, despite how Dallas played, despite everything that they did right, we won the game, baby. Despite Dallas playing the best possible game they could have played, right? It resulted in a loss. And that's not playing the best possible game we could have played. Resulted in a win.
But with that said, Mark, if you go say never ever, I need to hear never ever before the game, and I need to hear that you're during the game, Mark. That's all I need.
Did I not say that we was going to win before the game?
You didn't say they will never get on your level. That's not what you said, Mark. You know what? Maybe I'm just mixing words here. You know, I'll let it go for now. But yes, that's all. I just want to see the same level of enthusiasm before, during, and after. That's all. If you're gonna say never, that's all.
What's going on? What is going on, Chris? What it do, baby? How you doing?
Yeah, what's good, man? Hey, Chris, man. You looking a little bigger these days. Pause. You know what I'm saying? You looking, you know what I'm saying? Like you look like you still getting bigger, man. What's going on with that? I know you working out. I know you doing all your competitions and stuff, but yeah, man. Just saying, like compared to like 2 years ago, man, you look like you probably weigh as much as I do.
Hey, but no, listen, man. Hey, Sean, I don't know where the hate is coming from, bro. I don't understand.
Nah, that's not hate, man. That's not hate, man. I'm just making observations, man.
What's the observation again? I'm sorry.
No, the observation is the never ever. That's the only thing I had an issue with. You can be happy for your team after a win. You can be like, yeah, I bet on my team. I picked them to win. They weren't gonna beat us. You can even say, hey man, I thought it was gonna be a close game, and it was. You can say all that. The never ever part, Mark. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I feel as though the game proved, like, in your best day, we were still better. Hey, what up, Troy? What up? Listen. Gotta keep them boys far away. Only 180. Okay, yeah. But yeah, no, 180 pushing up almost 325 is excellent, Chris. That's amazing.
Yeah. That's efficiency, peak efficiency, man. That's what when they try to tell you, man, how much you weigh, 180, then you tell them it's peak efficiency, man. You know what I'm saying? No empty pounds here.
I wish to be like you. When I was like you, it was many years ago, in 2013.
And I will sit here in front of all of you guys and say, I was never like you, okay? Even when I was close, I was far away. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I know I don't got the dedication, Mark. Some people,
Nah,
you
man.
just know what lifestyle you're willing to live and which lifestyle you're not willing to live. You know what I'm
Hey,
saying?
hey, Troy, if you didn't watch the very beginning, I suggest you go watch the very beginning because felt as though it was pretty good. I worked, but hey, Sean, speaking of, did you like the beginning?
No, that shit was dope. Forget all the shit I was saying earlier. That shit was dope. I like it. I laughed. It was amazing. You know what I'm saying? Beautifully done, Mark. I appreciate your hard work. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate it.
Hey, man, listen, I tried to put up a good, effort for you guys. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know what, Mark? Though this is what I'll say at the end of the season. Though, when it all falls down like it usually does for the Cowboys, that's the image that's going to be in my mind. Whole season went topsy turvy. You know what I'm saying? I already know it's happening. It's going to happen, Mark. So you could just look at that still frame and be like, this is a physical representation of y'all's season.
Well, you know what's funny about that still frame? I watched that still frame in several different things. There's the Stomp the Yard, John, where they show him superimposed on Stop the Yard, like upside down. And there's a John where it shows him like getting dumped in a trash can. Like there's several different ones, bro. But yeah, anyway, man, let's go. Hey guys, we got a packed show for you guys. We got to get into our week 9 pick'ems. We got referring in the spirit of the rules, and we're going to get into some NBA stuff and some WNBA stuff as well. So, and we're actually going to get into one college topic, and guess what? It has nothing to do with Colorado. So, yeah.
It kind of has something to do with Colorado, Mark. I don't know. Like, but not in the way that you guys are thinking,
Yeah, see, I appreciate you, Troy. I appreciate it. I appreciate you, man.
Oh, that's quick. We can do that quick. That's not even nothing.
Yeah, that'll be a nice little reel, you know what I'm saying? Man. But anyway, guys. See? Look at you. Troy already know what the topic is off the top rope with it. He already got us. He got us pegged. He know what we talking about here.
Hey, look. Ricky's about to get a notification soon, but we're going to see if he shows up for this, man. Because
we'll talk. But yeah, we definitely going to get into the Caleb topic today, man. It's going to be interesting. But anyway. We're going to go ahead and get into our first topic of the day now that you guys are in here and we starting off. All right, man. So here we go. First topic, we're going to start off with our week 9 pick'ems, what we picked for week 9. If you guys aren't watching, we are now making picks for week 9. We try to have them out by Wednesday, but at the latest, it will be out Thursday morning, excuse me. But I'm just going to go ahead and get into these picks. Sean, do you mind if I just list them off?
You could go ahead and list them off. That's cool. Yeah.
All right. So Pittsburgh versus Tennessee. I had Pittsburgh. Sean also had Pittsburgh winning in that game. Miami versus KC. I had Miami winning this game. I was incorrect. Sean had KC winning, and he was correct. Atlanta versus Minnesota. We were both incorrect. Atlanta lost this game to Minnesota. Dobbs showed up and balled out. Rams versus Green Bay. We were both wrong in this game. We had the Rams. And with Stafford not playing, it was obvious that they weren't going to win, especially with Rippon playing. And that's something that we may get into later. Washington over New England. I had Washington winning. I was correct, and Sean was incorrect because he had New England. New Orleans over Chicago. We both had New Orleans. Correct there. Baltimore over Seattle. Both correct. Tampa Bay over Houston. I had Tampa Bay, obviously. And Sean had Houston. He was correct in that one. That was an amazing game. I enjoyed that one.
I didn't say that was going to be close, man. It was as close as I thought it was. I didn't expect it to turn into a shootout.
Yeah, that was an awesome game, man. I think I think that game is the one that shows CJ has arrived. Anytime that you could score in less than 40 seconds at the end of the game, you have arrived in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then you got Indy over Carolina. We both got that one correct with Indy. We have Las Vegas over the Giants. We both have that correct. We said that is a Giants thing to do, to have a team that is basically in so much turmoil and turnover with the coach and everything else going on the team, and you switching quarterbacks, that you would lose that game. And of course, the Giants lose that game in spectacular fashion in a blowout. So we were both correct there. Philly
Mark,
over
real
Dallas.
quick, sorry to interrupt you. Is it spectacular when it happens like that all the time? Is it spectacular, really?
I don't know, man. I don't know, but it was just wow. You couldn't be more of a Giant right now than you are.
That's crazy. Yeah.
Philly over Dallas. We both got that one correct. Cincinnati over the Bills. We both got that one correct. We both called Cincinnati in this one. And Chargers over the Jets. Surprisingly, I'm the only one person that got this correct. Sean did not get this one correct because he had the Jets winning over the Chargers. I picked the Chargers in this game, and so that left us both with 4 incorrect matchups. So we had 9 matchups correct, 4 wrong, and our tiebreaker was the over and under for the Chargers-Jets game. I was closer to the point total. Sean had 38. I believe I had 35 or 34, something like that. But either way, the point total was actually 32 or 33.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, it was like something like that, 33.
It don't even matter, boy. The Chargers just rolled on them. You know what I'm saying? I look crazy picking the Jets now, but
so with the tiebreaker, I won the tiebreaker, and so Sean had one over me last week, and I have one over him this week. So we are tied yet again. So that's it for our Week 9 pick'ems. Check us out tomorrow for our Week 10 pick'ems. That video will be out tomorrow, Wednesday. Now, let's get into our real topics of the day. And one thing that I want to talk about that I've seen in the NFL so far this season, and that is reffing in the spirit of the rules. All right, guys, listen. One thing I posted recently online was I said that I'm going to vow for the rest of the season to no longer complain about the refs in these games. And the reason why I'm no longer going to complain about the refs in these games is because I am noticing a trend across every platform. Nobody has anything to say about the refs when they're watching a game where their personal team is not involved. When their personal team is not involved, nobody says a damn thing. But when their personal team is involved and their personal team is losing, now it's the refs are awful. The refs is this, and this, it seems to be higher this year than ever before. And one thing I'm noticing about the refs this year is that the refs seem to be doing what we've always asked for. The refs seem to be letting the players play. They're not calling the ticky-tack fouls or the ticky-tack calls anymore. The calls that don't affect the game are, I'm going to say by and large for the most part, because you still see there's still going to be mistakes, and there's still going to be things that affect the game that they don't call, or things that they call, whatever. You're still going to see that. But hold on, we got a comment here. The fines are starting to bother me. Okay, got it. Yeah, some like the fines that are happening to the players and stuff like that. That is a different thing. But here's the thing about the fines: the fines aren't set in stone until you have to follow up with the fines, because they get the fine, but then the player association generally appeals just about every fine. And when you get and and a lot of those times you'll see those fines repealed. So you have to follow through to see if those fines get repealed or not. And here we go. We got Troy here. He says, I only see ticky-tack calls when they try to make up for a bad call. And that's very true. You see, like, when they miss a call, you'll see a ticky-tack call today or whatever like that to, like, kind of reset things for whatever they missed or for whatever they called the first time that was wrong. And, but anyway, the point being is the fact that by and large, we are watching these guys, letting these players play. And this is basically what we've been asking for years, where we watch situations where the refs are changing the outcome of the games, and we have been saying, no, the refs need to stay out of it. Like, that's a bullshit call, whatever. Now the refs are staying out of it, and everybody's bitching that they're not calling it. Like, I don't like. You have to figure it out. Which way do you want it? Do you want the refs to call everything, or do you not want the refs to call everything? Personally, I like the way it is right now for the most part. I like the way that, like, hey, I'm gonna let you play. If you are doing something, or if something happened incidentally and it didn't affect the game, it's all right. Like, for instance, Sean, before I get into the next thing I'm going to say, how do you feel about what I said so far?
I think what you're saying is accurate for the most part. I'll say this, man. Like, people are gonna still complain about the Chiefs. They're gonna complain about the stuff they see during the Niners games. You're obviously not talking about that stuff. But by and large, they are calling it the way that we want them to call it. Mark, in the beginning of the season, you see me complain about, man, they're not calling no PIs at the end of the games. Right. And then when you really look at it, it's like, nah, man, this is not how, like, it has to be egregious for them to call it, because they're not going to make that call that's going to be a game-altering call. And at first I didn't like it, Mark, but I appreciate it. But you're absolutely right. They're just doing what should be done, and they're at least being consistent with it. So I can't complain.
Right. For instance, in this comment goes right along with what I'm about to say here. It says, if the roughing the passer calls are for player safety, do you think we will see rules changes to it for defensive player safety instead of them having to tackle like it is the Matrix? And and it's funny that you say that, Chris, because just this season, right? Last season, like, I'm going to bring up an instance last season in which they called the ticky-tack call, and it just so happened to be against the Eagles. Last season, Taylor Heineke, the quarterback for the Commanders, he gave himself up. But he gave himself up at the very last second, and Brandon Graham was already moving, and Brandon Graham, like, tried to turn away from him, like, but he was already moving, and he hit him. And the ref throws the flag, and it was like, that didn't hurt the ref. He wasn't trying to hurt the QB. He wasn't trying to hit him after the fact. This was just a momentum play that happened, and the ref threw the flag, and it was like, and the people in the commentating, they were saying, like, yeah, that's the rule, but like, this isn't the spirit of which the rule was made. Now, this season, just Sunday, we seen two instances. One in which Patrick Mahomes went and slid, but he slid late. And when he slid late, the person was already diving, and the person, like, clipped his helmet because he slid. Patrick Mahomes is running around looking for a flag, flailing his arms about. And I really like Patrick Mahomes, but I was annoyed with him in this moment because I was like, just shut the fuck up, man. Because, like, dog, like, what else is he supposed to do? Trying to tackle you, and you fall on the ground. You know what I mean? And he didn't call nothing because wasn't malicious. It wasn't a hard hit. It wasn't anything like that. They didn't call it. And another instance was Dak Prescott, where he was getting sacked. And when he was getting sacked, he started to fall. And the other person that was coming in to tackle him, as he was starting to fall, the other person barely clipped his helmet or whatever. And he was looking for a hit to the head as well. And it was another instance of that hit didn't affect you. That hit wasn't hard. It just, they clipped your helmet by mistake. We're not, and he's looking for a flag. They didn't call it. You don't want to see plays like that affect a game where you get an extra 15 yards, because that is the penalty, is 15 yards. You don't want to see a play like that get an extra 15 yards where a situation where somebody can't control themselves because they are already in momentum and you just happen to fall that way.
Yeah, you know what, Mark? Here, and this is my thing, man. I usually have a little bit of sympathy for players because you force them to adjust to these goofy ass rules in the first place. And now that they're adjusted to them as far as their expectations, one day you pull the rug out from under them, right? It changed. This is why Patrick Mahomes is getting up saying, hey, give me that. Like you've given it to me for the last 5 years. I'll like, where's the call, right? But at the same time, Mark, so my sympathy for them is very limited, Mark, to a certain time period, because at some point, we're going into week 10.
Yes,
we're going into week 10, and they've been calling these. They've essentially been calling it like this for the entirety of the season. Maybe you're Patrick Mahomes. Y'all been getting extra calls, all year. So maybe it's different for you. But in general, I don't want to see these guys complaining about it. When, like you said, it's incidental contact. It was accidental. They tried to move out of the way, and then it happened, right? You didn't get hurt. The entirety of the rule was put in place so that you guys wouldn't get hurt. And I don't know about you, Mark, but take me back to the days when it was just late hit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Very cut and dry. You hit him late. That's why it's roughing the passer, okay?
Right.
Very simple. Guess what? When he slides and you hit him after he gave himself up, that was a late hit. Very simple. Very simple. It's not late if your knee hits the ground in your slide and I'm already airborne and we make contact. That's not a late hit. You know what I'm saying? Like, they need to find a way to simplify these rules, Mark, because it seems like every time they adjust a rule, they get more complicated. And then it gets harder and harder for the players to understand. How long did it take for the defensive players to adjust to, hey, you can't fall on top of them with your weight? It took a long time to understand the interpretation of that rule.
And it's funny because Clay Matthews got ate up by that rule. He got ate alive by that rule.
Yeah.
And it was like, what else is he supposed to do? Like,
I'm driving through you on the tackle, man. Like, I can't drive through you if I'm trying to stand up straight. Like, it's going to put me in a position to where my body weight is leaned forward. I'm going to fall.
And it's funny because that happened just this weekend, and I believe it happened on Mac Jones. It is funny that Robert said it. Roughing QB calls have been suspect, but overall, like how the refs have been calling the games, and that's true. Because they called the roughing the passer call, and like I said, sometimes they're going to get it wrong. They called the roughing the passer call on I don't know who it was, but I do believe it was in the New England game, and it was a basic sack. Like he didn't slam him to the ground, he just put him to the ground. It was like, that's just a normal sack. Like the commentators, they was like, that's just the normal sack. What else is supposed to happen here? But this is why we are seeing more instances of these refs not blowing the whistle, is because of those situations where they leave the commentators baffled, they leave the audience baffled as to what happened and what are you calling. So that's what we are watching now. And I think it's taking a moment for us to adjust to it. But I'm putting this out here to say that we need to adjust to it, because it is better this way than what it was, where they are throwing the flag every other play.
And to add to that, Mark, the dangers of keeping it the way it is you now invite players like the NBA, for example. You invite James Harden to study these rules and try to find loopholes and ways to
Right.
manipulate them in his favor.
And that's how you get the Kenny Pickett fake slide.
Yeah, the fakes. Because Mark, I just feel like it's coming, man. The fake slide is coming.
No, they already banned the fake slide, but remember, Kenny Pickett did the fake slide in college.
Yeah,
and it was like, and Kenny Pickett said, "Oh, that was just by accident." Nobody fake slide by accident, bro.
Yeah.
Like you did it on purpose.
Slide halfway through, bro. You didn't. You got the agility of a fucking cat. What's going on here, man?
You out here slide canceling like it's Call of Duty. Like, what are you doing?
Exactly. Come on, man. We know you play Call of Duty. We know exactly what you was thinking, dog. Cut it out, man. But to the point, that's just a fake slide. There's so many other ways that they can manipulate. Hey, I see him. He's coming at me. It looks like he's leaning into me. I'm going to slide real quick. Or, I mean, the slide is one thing, but you look at receivers initiating contact and making it look like the DB is the one that's grabbing them, when in reality it's the wide receiver. These things happen because of these rules, man. You got to make these things more simplified, more cut and dry, so that you do not open the door and lend it to people and players trying to get an edge by not circumventing the rule, but by manipulating the verbiage of the rule. So,
like, before we get into the Dallas Eagles game, the situation in which Schoonmaker, he was where he got tackled on the 1 yard line or whatever. Like, I see all over the internet, people are like, that was a PI. He was tackling him before. No, he was diving at the ball before the ball got there. And Schoonmaker was falling all on his own. Like,
he has the right to
contend the ball. The ball was in the air. So the ball was in the air and in the vicinity. He has the right to contend. That's why it's not called. That's why it wasn't a PI. Yeah. And guess what? Every picture that everybody shows, like when you look at it, where the ball is in the air, the Dallas player is holding Josh Sweat. He's on the inside of his shoulder pad, pulling him. And guess what? That wasn't called. You want to know? And I'm glad that wasn't called, because guess what? That was away from the play. At the moment that was happening, the ball was already out in the air, away from the play. There's no point in calling that, because that has nothing to do with what was going on in the play. The ball is nowhere near there. That doesn't affect the play in the least. There's things that we just got to figure out as fans, and start being a little bit more objective in what we want and what we want to see. But Sean, is there anything else you want to say on this topic before?
Yeah, just one last thing. In any sport, all I ask for is for you to make the right calls, right? Call the game correctly. I'm not just saying make the right calls. Call the game correctly, and you know what I'm saying when I say that, Mark. But the only thing I ask is, if you're not going to do that, right, then be consistent. I might disagree with the way that you're calling it, but at least if you're consistent, I can say, look, these players can come into the game with an expectation and understand it, right? Right now, they're calling the game the right way, and they're being consistent, and I feel like you can't ask them to do any more than that.
Right. All right. So on that note, guys, we're going to go ahead and move on to our next topic, and that is what is wrong with the AFC East. Dolphins lose to another team with a winning record, and the Bills fall to 5-4. The Bills pretty much have already maxed out the amount of losses that they can take on the season. Yeah. And they're only halfway through the season. And as far as the Dolphins go, they have yet to have a win over a team with a winning record, or even 500 for that matter. And not only that, but they have yet to put up more than 17 points on a team that is over 500. So, Sean, I'm gonna let you lead this topic, and I'm just going to ask you, which one of these teams do you want to start off with? Do you want to start off with the Dolphins or the Bills?
I'm going to start off with the Bills, man. The Dolphins is too easy, so we're going to start off with the Bills. The Bills, man. And I'm just going to throw this out here, Mark. The Jets are now 4-5.
Mm-hmm.
If the Jets would have won that game, they would be above the Bills in the standings because they beat the Bills week 1. I just want to make that very clear. As bad as people think the Jets are, the Bills are 1 game ahead, and the Jets own the tiebreaker as of right now. Like, that's the situation that the Bills are in. And this is with the Jets not having Aaron Rodgers. This is with the Jets offensively being a sight for sore eyes, Mark. We watch these. I don't know if you watch the Jets game or if you watch any Jets games at all, because I mean, me personally, when they show up, I'm just like, I ain't trying to see this, man. They're trash. The offense is garbage, man.
Hey, so real quick before you finish that statement, hey Mo, I invite you to go ahead and just hit the rewind button and go ahead and look at the beginning of the video. Check out something that I put together for everybody to watch. So yeah, just go ahead and start at the beginning of the live and then go back to where we are right now. All right.
Yeah, but that's where they're at, Mark. And when you look at this team, they have Stephon Diggs, they have Josh Allen, they have James Cook, who looks great when he's running the ball. He's great. He's a great pass catcher outside of the, out of the backfield. They have, even though they don't need it, they have a goal line back in Latavius Murray. They have Gabe Davis, hit or miss, whatever you want to call it, and then Josh Allen with the ability to run for touchdowns, do all this stuff. It just seems like the offense has all the weapons that they want, right? And then when I look on the defensive side of the ball, I mean, they have enough defensive players. Look, Tre'Davious White gets hurt every single season, Mark. That doesn't stop the Bills from being a top-tier defense. But something about this season is different. I've seen them lose games because the defense faltered, and I've seen them lose games because the offense faltered, right? So they're not getting consistency out of either side of the ball. And as of right now, man, like your quarterback, and I'm just going to say it, the quarterback ain't good enough. Your quarterback ain't good enough for you to win those types of games, right? He's not going to dig you out of a hole offensively if he can't get Diggs going, okay? He's not. The decisions that he's going to make in those games it's not going to be what you need to win games. So right now, my thing is 5-4 is worse than I thought they would have been by now, Mark. And let's be honest, they've won some big games. They've played pretty good. But I can tell you this: I don't see them doing anything like you talking about the playoffs. These dudes might not make the playoffs, Mark. And if you ask me what's wrong with them, I just think that their offensive coordinator needs to change. And it seems like they need to rein Josh Allen in a bit if they want to have any chances of winning these closer games that the defense can't hold up their end of the bargain. So if they don't rein in Josh Allen, then they're going to continue to have these up and down, wishy-washy, play up to the competition, play down to the competition games. As far as Miami goes, unless you want to speak on the Bills.
One thing that I do want to speak on the Bills, I want to speak on Josh Allen, and I want to say this very quickly. Anytime you talk about Patrick Mahomes, keep Josh Allen's name out your mouth from now on. I feel this. I've always felt this way. Sean knows this, and other people in various groups that I'm in, they know this as well. Anytime they ever brought up Josh Allen in the same breath of Patrick Mahomes, I always had problems. But keep Josh Allen's name out your mouth when you're talking about Patrick Mahomes. I feel that, and just to foreshadow something that I'm going to talk about later, feel the same way about Justin Herbert. Keep his name out your mouth when you're talking about Patrick Mahomes as well. These two guys, a conversation needs to be had about the fact that maybe they're one-trick ponies. Maybe they only have one trick, and for as much as people used to get on Jalen Hurts for his lack of ability for progression in his routes, maybe people need to start looking at Josh Allen and asking how many progressions are you going through when you throwing the ball.
I think pre-snap, Josh Allen knows where he's throwing the ball. That's just what I'm thinking. He knows whether he's throwing it. Like, he just making decisions pre-snap. Like, he ain't looking at progressions, man. But real quick, I just got to get this comment in here. Bo Green said, doing that now. I was on Facebook at first just subscribe to the YouTube. We appreciate you. We appreciate you, brother. Subscribing to the page, you know what I'm saying? Once we hit our certain numbers as far as the subscribers go for YouTube, then we can monetize, you know what I'm saying? And then we can, hopefully we can take the quality of our show to the next level. But thank you. Every subscription counts, man. Appreciate you.
Yeah, right now we have the views. We just need the subscribers, man. We have the people watching. We just need the subscribers to jump up to where we want to be.
Impatient, bro. Like you say, see, that's what I'm talking about. He says impatient, Mark. I just 1,000% believe Josh Allen, the most impatient QB, Allen or Josh. Yeah. So I don't know if he's impatient. I personally just think he's making decisions before the snap, and he's expecting things to be there. And then when it's not there, you see one of two responses. He starts panicking because his first read is probably supposed to be the third read. But now that that's taken away, Mark, he starts, let me go through my progressions. It's already too late. You already started in the wrong spot. So either he takes a sack or he takes off or he tries to take off, Mark. Or there's always the other option. The third option is he ain't open, but I'm going to throw it to him anyway, which we see happening too.
Hey, man, listen, there was a quarterback that was phenomenal. He was phenomenal, and he didn't know how to read a lick of defense. His name was Brett Favre. He didn't know how to read a defense to save his life. But guess what? Josh Allen, you're not Brett Favre, baby.
Hey, you better have the arm of Brett Favre, and you better have the accuracy of Brett Favre. And people talk about him throwing picks. It's not because he was an inaccurate QB. It's because there's no reason why you should be throwing to that receiver, and he's going to try to do it anyway because his success rate is so high. Like, it's just, nah, man. Like you said, if you're going to do Brett Favre shit, you better be Brett Favre, right? But yeah, and to Mo's point, Trevor Lawrence is just a solid QB, man. He does everything. He does everything you want your QB to do. It's just taking a little bit, the Urban Meyer start, all that stuff. But either way, let's get off of Josh Allen. Let's get off of this stuff right now. I want to talk about the Dolphins. The Dolphins, like the biggest lump of fool's gold that you could find, man. Mark, let's go back to us talking about their 70-point game against the Broncos. At that point in time, the Broncos' defense was horrendous. It was the worst defense in the NFL.
It still is.
70 points. They ran for 300 yards and passed for 300 yards, Mark. This shit was abysmal, Mark, okay?
Chicago only has 2 wins, and one of those wins is against the Broncos.
Yeah, this is insanity, Mark. That version of the Broncos team was terrible. The Broncos right now, Mark, if the Dolphins played the Broncos today, it might be a close game. That's what I'm telling. Like, everything that the Dolphins has done has been against horrendous defenses, okay? And not just horrendous defenses, but bad teams all around that don't have offense, right?
Right.
So, the most amazing part of the Dolphins to me is how you can blow out a bad team like you're supposed to if you're great. But then you play a great team, or not even they don't have to be great. You play a better team or a team that's supposedly on your level, and it's like you get blown out there. Like either you're blowing people out or you're getting blown out. Mark, have you ever seen a team that was? Have you ever seen a team that was that up and down, where the highs are that high and the lows are that low?
I feel like I have seen a team but I know it was a terrible team. I know it was a bad team, and maybe that's just the long and short of it, is that the Dolphins are a bad team.
I think they're a bad team.
I think that may be the long and short of it, that the Dolphins are a bad team. Mike McDaniels he may have the right idea.
I think he does
not, because from what I see is like the play calling seems to be correct. The the way they go about the game seems to be correct. The feel for the game seems to be correct. The only thing that doesn't seem to be correct right now is the execution. And that's not a Mike McDaniels thing, and that's a thing that we need to talk about, is that the Dolphins are lacking execution. There's things that Tyreek Hill is doing out there, particularly in this game. We can say that for certain, Tyreek Hill specifically lost them the game against the Eagles. We could say that. Tyreek Hill inexplicably dropped a wide open touchdown against the Eagles. Tyreek Hill has several missed plays against the Eagles. In this game just now against the Kansas City Chiefs, Tyreek Hill was the one that got stripped. Like, you know what I mean? Tyreek Hill got the ball stripped from him. And that was a fumble for a touchdown. Tyreek Hill was the one that they were able to take off the board. And yes, I agree with, let's be real, Tua is not it, never been it. They have a good offensive line and great receivers. Tua is not it. Defense is suspect. Very true. All of this is true.
Well, you spitting right now. Yeah.
And Mo Green, I agree with you. And one thing that I'm going to bring up about Tua right now is that this is things that me and Sean have been saying since last year, is that Tua often throws ducks in the air. He often throws short passes in the air, but because his wide receivers are great, because it's Waddle and Hill or whatever, they can come back to the ball and they'll catch the ball, and then they'll make something happen after the catch. They have the most yards after the catch out of any team. This was discussed by Sean and I 3 weeks ago. Yeah. Like, we discussed this on an episode 3 or 4 weeks ago about how their yards after the catch is what's making them. Now, what happens when a team that has a good defense decides to take away those receivers? They say, nah, I'm a man up this receiver. I'm not sitting in zone. I'm a man this dude up. And now this receiver he can't come back to the ball because I'm on him. Like, he's not getting yards after the catch because I'm on him. Like, what now? And that's basically what you're...
Yeah, Tyreek Hill is fast enough to where you should be able to throw him open if you're accurate enough, right? We've seen plenty of times where Patrick Mahomes was getting the ball to Hill when he was covered, right? It just is what it is, right? These are the things that they expect from you if you're considered to be a great quarterback. And then I see that he said he dropped a big pass too against KC. Yeah, I also thank you for getting to the Mo comment. He said also Hill is a fast, great wide receiver, but he is not a dominant wide receiver. And this is one thing that I want to speak about, because I don't think I've ever had this conversation. Never had to, Mark. But here's the truth. Tyreek Hill has always been this wide receiver.
Yes, he has.
Tyreek Hill has always made bonehead plays. Okay.
Yes, he has.
I've watched games in KC where they give him an end around, right? It's clock's ticking. They ain't got no timeouts. They give this man an end around or a drag route, and he's pretending like he's gonna go out of bounds, and then steps back in to try to get a couple extra yards, right? And then gets tackled in bounds. These are things that Tyreek Hill has been doing his whole career. Like, I hate saying these words, but he's just a low IQ football player. He is, right? It's just he either he's low IQ or he's just a renegade.
Hey, Sean, I'm gonna shoot you some bail here. I'm not going to say he's low IQ. I'm just going to say he's not a high IQ.
That sounds better. Thank you, Mark. Thank you. He's not a high IQ. This is better. When you look at the great wide receivers, the greatest wide receivers of all time, all of them are savvy. Larry Fitzgerald.
That is better. He doesn't have the savviness of the great wide receivers of the league.
He does not. And he doesn't have to because of his physical gifts. He leans all the way into his physical gifts, Mark. I mean, but these are just plays that you have to take and accept from Hill. You have to accept these, Mark. He's so great when he's great that you can't nitpick him, Mark. Right? You just take it,
Right.
He can't dominate like Brown. He said like Brown, Cup, Jefferson, or even Metcalf.
Here's an example of a savvy receiver. Steve Smith. Steve Smith is one of the he was a savvy receiver. He always understood where he was on the field. He always understood leverage versus the person he was with. He didn't have to be the fastest. He was never the tallest. Know what I'm saying? Like he understood leverage, he understood positioning, he understood where he was on the field, and that's what made him a great receiver. That's not Tyreek Hill. And Tyreek Hill could stand to learn something from Steve Smith, because if he had some tutelage from Steve Smith, Tyreek Hill would be an absolute monster, because his physical gifts are greater than Steve Smith's.
He could. That's the thing. People underestimate Tyreek Hill's athleticism. Tyreek Hill could go up and get it. He just but you don't see it often because he's not in the right position to. Like the pick that Gonzalez got from the Patriots, the rookie DB Christian Gonzalez, the pick that he got on Tyreek Hill in that game. That it was a short ball. Your quarterback throws short balls from time to time. Tyreek Hill finished out his route, turned around late, saw it, and then didn't try to get in front of him to make that play. So it's one of those things to where if you had a savvy receiver in that position, it doesn't matter how tall they were. They would have made sure that they were in front of the DB, or they would have came back in time to try to make a play on the ball, whether it be to try to catch it or whether it be to try to knock it away. It just is what it is, man. But Tyreek Hill, you have to accept that. He's too great everywhere else, right? But you combine that with Tua being bad under pressure, not being the most accurate QB, and it's like, nah, man. Once you get in those tight situations, they're gonna falter. I'll say this to wrap it up: the Dolphins, they're 6-3. The Bills are 5-4. The Bills are exactly what the record says they are, and the Dolphins are a little bit worse than what the record says they are. Okay, that's what I feel like. I feel like the Dolphins are a very good, slightly above 500 team.
All right, so listen, I'm gonna say this. I think that the Dolphins they're not a Super Bowl contender, but they're a playoff contending team. And that is less than what a lot of people projected them as after the first 3 games of the season. After the first 3 games of the season, most people projected them as a Super Bowl contending team. Like, now it's time to go ahead and write it off and say, look, you're not a Super Bowl contending team. That's not going to happen. But I do see you making the playoffs, and that's greater than anything that the Dolphins have done up until this point. So congratulations. Like, you are taking steps forward. But you're not there. Like, from what it looked like in the beginning, it was like, oh, they've arrived. They're here. No, that's not it. That's not what has happened. They have not arrived. They still have steps to take. And that's not a knock against the Dolphins at all. Now, as far as the Bills go, you got to figure some things out. When it comes to the Bills, you need to start figuring out how to actually run the ball with efficiency and mix it into the game, not running obvious situations like first down, but just mix it into the game plan. And then you actually have to, I don't know, throw to another person that's not Stephon Diggs in big situations.
Yeah, it's James Cook is too good of a running back for him not to be used in this offense. So yeah, like I said, OC need to get his shit together.
Jay says if the Bills wake up, they scary, and that's very true. If they wake up, they scary, but they not. They forever sleep. Freddy Krueger got them in the chokehold.
You said if they wake up, you know what I'm saying? Look, everybody knows that person. You know what I'm saying? Everybody knows that person that has the entire world of potential. And you know in the back of your mind, they're never going to be motivated enough to ever live up to their potential. You know what it looks like when you see it. Now, the Bills as a team, that's that person. They're Lamar Odom. You know what I'm saying? Like you see it, you know it to be true. If you're building yourself up to believe they could do more, you're setting yourself up for disappointment.
I like this comparison here by Troy. He says the Dolphins remind me of Chad Johnson and Carson Palmer Bengals. Not a Super Bowl team, but a playoff team. And that's exactly right. Perfect example.
It's a team that you're never going to want to see. Like you see them on the schedule for the regular season, you're like, damn. But at the end of the day, you just know that they're not winning. They're not going to no Super Bowl. They're not winning no Super Bowl. Yeah, perfect example.
Good thing. Jay says they only lost 4 games, fellas. I mean, they can go on a run. Listen, they can go on a run. Here's the problem. Bills like to play down to their opponent. They are going to play down to them. That's what they've done there the entire time Josh Allen has been there. And secondly, off of that, like, you know what, Sean? I want you to bring up what's the rest of the Bills schedule. Can you do that for me? And while I talk here, I'm going to say this, that the Bills have this problem because you're not going to get a tiger to change their stripes. This has been the Bills their entire time, man. Like, they have gone through it. They are on the offensive coordinator now. Brian Dable is down with the Giants. Like, so they're on a different offensive coordinator, and they still don't run the ball. Like, that's like, you're not going to get this tiger to change its stripes. Like, so they're going to continue to do the things that they have gotten them in trouble. And it seems like Josh Allen is just the person that he is because he's not learning. He's not progressing. He's not changing. He's not getting his other receivers involved as much as you would like to see him get his other receivers involved in the game. Like, these are things that's not happening. One thing that is happening is, I guess he's starting to go to his tight end a little bit more, so I guess that's some sort of progress.
Yeah. What's the point of you drafting the best tight end in the league, coming into the league, and then not using him, man? I'm not even going to, you know what? But here, just to let you know real quick, Mark, schedule's up, all right?
Mm-hmm.
You want me to go through the games?
Yes, please.
All right. They have their next game is the Broncos.
That's a W.
After that, they play the Jets again. We shouldn't even
their
have
opponent. I don't know.
We shouldn't have to get hung up on the Jets, but we are, right? They have to play the Eagles after that.
Now, listen. Here's the thing about that. I wholeheartedly believe that the Eagles will beat Kansas City. And I don't think the Eagles need that game as much as the Bills need that game. I think that's a game that they could possibly steal.
Yeah. But the fact that if they lose to the Jets, then what's the point of beating the Eagles? You just back to square one, right? And then after they have a bye week. After the bye week, they have Kansas City.
They have Kansas City after that.
Yes, after the Eagles bye week, Kansas City.
That's an L.
Yeah, I'm counting as an L. Then they play the Cowboys. I honestly think the Cowboys win that game. Then they have the Chargers, the Patriots, and the Dolphins. In the these are, it's so crazy. I'm looking at this. We should only be talking about them losing 2 of these games, Mark. But yet and still, we're looking at this schedule and saying that they could lose 4 of these.
Yo, Ricky out here dropping bars, and I don't know why.
What do you say? Because your heart ain't whole. That's crazy, man. That's crazy, Ricky. Hey, Ricky, you know what's funny, man? We ain't even talk about Caleb yet. But anyways, back to what Mo was saying. He said there's 3 teams that play much better in the second half of the season. KC, Cincy, Jags. Also Ravens with a pass. Ravens with a passing attack is what the Bills should be. I just wanted to say that's exactly what we're seeing from the Ravens right now. Is what the Bills should be able to do. They should be able to duplicate that. Defensively, offensively, they should be able to duplicate that. Maybe not, let's be honest, Lamar running 14 times, maybe not that, but everything else, absolutely, man.
Rob got some beef with you. He said, hold up. He said the Patriots game isn't a gimme. The Pats beat them already.
I'm not saying it's a gimme because the Bills will play down the competition. But if you make me choose, I'm choosing Josh Allen over Mac Jones. It always comes down to the QB. It always does, man. He said, all right, Ricky, all right. Mo, you say he run 14 times, but Gus going to get that TD. I don't know if people understand. You'll see a stat line, and it'll say 14 carries for Lamar Jackson. And as a team, they will have 40 carries, okay? That means they're still handing the ball off to running backs. People, they're still not asking him. It's not like what you see with the Bills where it's like, oh, Josh Allen had 9 carries. James Cook had 11 carries. Like, it's not like James Cook there's certain games where James Cook is in a fucking running back by committee. He's in a timeshare with his quarterback. Yo, it's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. Jesus. Okay, Rob.
Rob, tell us how you really feel, boy.
Hey, you firing that?
Man, we want to get to that Caleb topic. But let's go ahead and get off this Dolphins and Bills topic so we can get to that Caleb topic. I just want to pull this up for Ricky so he can see it right away.
Yeah, Ricky, just so you know, Rob is talking like that because he's a USC fan. So it's personal for him,
But anyway, man, listen. Here's the thing, man.
That's funny though. No, I'm just catching up with Troy's comment. He said we've been looking for you like the bull in the red hat. It was looking for Ricky and Boys in the Hood. Oh man, that's crazy.
But nah, man, just to wrap up this Dolphins Dolphins topic very quickly. Though here's the facts, man. The Dolphins aren't who people thought they were at the beginning of the season. At the beginning of the season, after their 3 victories, we said, who have they beaten? We have to see it. And yet, here we are. It is now week 10, and we still haven't seen it. Like, that was back in week 3 when we asked that question.
They're 3-3 since then. They are 3-3 since then. They ain't beat nobody.
There's been 7 weeks since then, and we still haven't seen it. That's crazy. And to wrap it up with the Bills are exactly who they've always been. They play up to their opponent, and they play down to their opponent. And this is just and that's just it. And I like what Ricky says here. He says,
Oh,
I'm
my
sorry.
bad. You pressed it right after me. Yeah.
The Dolphins are good when teams are bad. That's flat out. That is what it is. Like, the Dolphins will be a playoff team, and I believe, but that is a good thing because for years they haven't been. So you are making progress. Congratulations, Dolphins, but you are not there.
Ricky's wild. That man said Caleb is better than 28 starting QBs in the league.
Hey,
We're
listen.
just gonna pretend like that wasn't said.
Listen, we'll address him when it's time to address him. But for now, we're going to address another crybaby of sorts. George Pickens has an outburst, and he had an outburst on the Steelers sideline, and that was because he ended the day with what? It was 2 receptions for
Two for negative
yard.
1. Yep, 2 for negative 1.
Yeah, 2 receptions for a negative 1. And mind you, on those 2 receptions, he would have had another reception for a touchdown, but somehow he took the wildest angle that I have ever seen in my life to end up out of bounds. Like, I don't know how he swung his leg around without ever touching the grass. He did. And so that's on him a little bit. So I'm assuming that some of his frustration was with himself. But by and large, with that being said, regardless, you go from being a high targeted guy to not being targeted, practically not being targeted at all, since the return of Deontay Johnson. And one thing that I want to bring up here is that George Pickens isn't the first guy to lash out in a situation like this. And it's not the first guy to lash out on the Steelers in a situation like this. Chase Claypool, who was labeled a crybaby and a complainer and all these other things, and I'm not saying he's not those things, because he very well may be those things. I am saying that these are the things he was labeled because he wasn't getting targeted after the return of Deontay Johnson. We watched the same thing happen with Chase Claypool, where he balled out of control. Chase Claypool showed that he is a true player in this league when Deontay Johnson was hurt, and when he was the number 1, he showed that he could ball. And then as soon as Deontay Johnson comes back, he is relegated to the shadow realm.
Yeah. Inexplicably. I need to say inexplicably.
Yes.
Like Mark, and I just want to give one example. It's just like when you said, hey man, now that Jordan Addison has arrived, I expect the Vikings to incorporate him into the offense when Justin Jefferson comes back. Like, it only makes sense. We just discovered we have something with this guy. So now it's like, oh man, it's double firepower now when they come back. Not thank you for your service. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's it, dog. We on to the next. Deontay Johnson, 15. I'm saying 15. I keep saying 15 because that's how many targets he be getting, though. But what was it, 11, 12 targets?
Yes. But essentially what we're watching is these players getting relegated to the shadow realm, and they're getting frustrated. Like, they're like, yo, what the heck is going on? Because, like, I'm out here for cardio at this point. And it's, I guess my question is this a sustainable thing for the Steelers, or should they figure out a different game plan to, like, get somebody open, or is this a quarterback thing?
I personally think this is clearly, like, in the past we weren't sure if it was a quarterback thing, but now we've seen it across 4 different quarterbacks. We saw it when Vic was there. We saw it when Mitch Trubisky was there. Now we're seeing it with Pickens. We already knew that in the preseason, before Pickens played anything, Pickett and Pickens both had chemistry in the preseason. So when it finally came to the point to where Kenny Pickett was playing QB as a starter, there was a natural chemistry between him and George Pickens, even last year. Okay, so then this year you have the Deontay Johnson injury, which allows Pickens to get more targets. And then you saw what you've been seeing from them right now. And then all of a sudden, Deontay Johnson comes back, and now Kenny Pickett don't got chemistry with George Pickens. No, it's not the quarterback, man. Like, this is clearly a play calling thing. Like, this is a only one wide receiver is going to eat thing, man. Because let's be honest, man. You just got to do what you can with your targets. When Martavis Bryant was on this team and he was cooking, Mark, what was his stat lines? 5 catches, 2 touchdowns, 150 yards. He was only getting, that was a good game where he had 5 catches. He might get you 3 catches, but he just making it, he trying to take that shit to the house every play because he knows he's not getting the ball. AB's getting 16 targets. Like, it's always been this way, Mark. And the thing is, you can get away with that when you have Antonio Brown receiving passes from Ben Roethlisberger, okay? You could get away with that when you have Troy Polamalu on the other side and all the rest of those guys on defense. This offense is not a star-studded offense when it comes to talent. Their offensive line ain't even as good as past years. They have to, you cannot do this thing where you say, we're going to feed the number one guy. He has seniority. Same thing in the run game. I'm glad they're switching it up and letting what's-his-name get off because Najee Harris has been terrible.
Now here's the thing. I want to address 2 comments here. They say the game plan should stop drafting wide receivers and draft the O-line. Okay, I agree because their O-line is bad. But here we go. Right in line with what you said just now. Only one person has to go, and that's Tomlin has to go. Period. He is stuck in a lot of his ways that is crippling the team. And what you said just now, it seems to be the Steelers' way, is that we are going to give the guys that have been here longer the shine because they have seniority. That wholeheartedly seems to be the way the Steelers operate. That seems to be the way they have always operated, is that if it doesn't matter how good you are, it doesn't matter how bad the person is ahead of you. He has seniority. He's going to have to get hurt or either have a negative yardage game 5 times in a row before we pull him and put you ahead of him. And that seems to be hurting them. And Mike Tomlin may need to change some things about his approach to this game and about his approach to these rookies or these players, and actually just play the guy that is performing, or actually give some juice to the guys that are performing. And like, you know what I'm saying, where instead of Deontay Johnson being the first read in the progression every single play, maybe we have a couple of plays where George Pickens is the first read in a couple of plays. Maybe we have a couple of plays where Pat Freiermuth is the first read in a couple plays. You know what I'm saying? Maybe we do some things like that. Najee Harris can't run for shit. Maybe we just go ahead and say you're the second guy and Jaylen Warren is the first guy. Like, maybe we do that. Like, it's like something has to change with this team. And it's all on Mike Tomlin to change it because he's the head coach.
Yeah, and to address Ricky's last comment there, he said, but he could get open. He mentioned multiple times Pickens doesn't get open. Guess what? Des Bryant didn't used to get open. There's a lot of receivers that didn't used to get open. You think Hines Ward was open all the time? Look, man, it doesn't matter if guys are getting open all the time, man. Hey, dude, I did see the comment. He said, hey, look. Yeah, I can't do it with y'all, man. Y'all be doing too much, man. Bunch of players in the heard Johnson be punching players in the head. Maybe that's why Pickens gets loud on IG, but not on the field. It might be true from the story that you told us, that you showed us, Ricky. It might have something to do with it. But I'm gonna be real. Pickens getting open is not the issue.
Mm-hmm.
If you're telling me he doesn't get open, then that means he didn't get open last year, and he still did what he did. That means he didn't get open this year when Deontay Johnson was gone, and it still worked out, right? But the point of the matter, when I say they're not talented enough to bypass him, who are you throwing to outside of Deontay Johnson, if not Pickens? Name somebody on that roster, and maybe you say Freiermuth, right? So you mean to tell me you got two receivers not named, two options not named George Pickens, and you're still saying that's enough? We don't have to throw to Pickens. That's crazy. That is insanity, man. Your offense ain't good enough for that. You need to be throwing it to anybody that can catch a ball. And for the record, Deontay Johnson gets open. He's one of the best route runners in the league. Terrible hands, okay? I will throw a jump ball to Pickens in the end zone rather than throw a wide open pass to Deontay Johnson in the end zone, because I feel like Pickens has a higher chance of catching it. Terrible, dog.
Hey, but listen, to your hands comment, I'm going to bring up this comment again. It says, from Troy, I don't watch a lot of Steelers games, but one thing I can say about watching these games is Johnson gives his QB confidence. When Pickett throws a bad pass, he encourages him, and Pickett goes back to him. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Deontay Johnson is out here playing the political game that the rest of the receivers aren't. Maybe Deontay Johnson is out there stroking the QB's ego, so they make sure to go back to him more often than not. Maybe that's what is happening.
You know what, Mark? There might actually be some truth to that, man. I've never heard a bad word about Deontay Johnson. I just hate his hands, and I hate the fact that he gets so many targets. That's it. Like, that's
his hands suck.
His hands are terrible. Anybody say a bad word about it? Actually, everybody says great things about Deontay Johnson. Maybe that's it. It's the Kirk Cousins effect. He's just a really nice guy. Everybody loves him. Is that what it is? Maybe.
I don't know.
And Ricky said his hands are certified ass Mitch. Look. Look, man, if he could catch with the amount of accuracy that he could throw with, you know what I'm saying, then maybe we wouldn't have this conversation, you know?
All right, man. All right, so let's go ahead and get off this topic and speak on another coach that actually did get removed. Our question here is, can we finally be done with this?
Yeah,
like that's I throw my hands up and I'm really asking, can we finally be done with this? Was this the last stop for Josh McDaniels? Because let's look at Josh McDaniels' whole career, his past, and when we look at it, he was under Bill Belichick. They were cheating. That's a fact. That was a fact. Like, yes, they got multiple rings, but there was cheating within that tenure, and Josh McDaniels was a part of it. That's factual. Moving on, Josh McDaniels goes to Denver. They win their first 6 or 7 games. NFL says you're cheating, and then he stops cheating. They lose from that point on. This is another factual statement. Period. And then they get rid of Brandon Marshall. They do all these things to basically destroy what was that Broncos team. He goes back to New England. They win some Super Bowls or whatever, but there are still other questionable things that are happening within that team. And then he gets a head coaching job with Indianapolis, which he says, nope. I know I said I was going to take this job, and I know I'm kind of leaving you in an effed up spot, but I'm going back to New England. Here's my middle finger. And so he gave them the middle finger, and despite him basically flipping off an owner after accepting a job, he still somehow gets a job with the Raiders. And even though the Raiders had Derek Carr, Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams, they had all these things together. Max Crosby on defense. They had all these things to put together. He somehow did the Bill O'Brien and messed that up. Like, I don't know what happened there. And Derek Carr is now gone. He went to Jimmy G, and Jimmy G is absolute trash. So that is basically his tenure as a head coach. Who do you see saying, you know what? Give me some of that. I want some of that Josh McDaniels action as my head coach.
Well,
Sean.
Mark, it brings me to my point, Mark, because I got to bring up this comment from Rob. Rob says, he will never. You bring it up to. Yeah. I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that. I promise. I'm gonna get to that. Absolute nasty work, bro. Absolute nasty work. But we're gonna get to that. Let me get to Robert's comment first. He said, yes, he will never be a head coach again, Mark. That's not what I think. Rob misunderstands us, man. I want to be done with him. I don't want to see him as a coach. I don't want to see him as a coordinator. I don't want to hear his name in any NFL circles, period, Rob. But yes, he will be back, Mark, and he will be a coordinator for the Patriots. I mean, let's be honest. The Patriots had defensive coordinators running their offense last year. The Patriots need Josh McDaniels just as bad as Josh McDaniels needs the Patriots, Mark. But you know what happens, when their powers combine, they put the rings together, boom, Spygate 3.0. I'm just saying, you already know what's coming, man. These boys going to be cheating. As soon as they get back, they're going to be cheating, boy. Cheating. You know what I'm saying? They looking at Mac Jones and they like, man, we got to. We have to cheat, baby. We got to, okay? So that's all I'm saying is, they right back with the Pats. Yep, I agree, Ricky. I do not see any other way. The Pats need something. They need some of that old magic, right? And then
some of that old magic, the cheat magic.
Sleight of hand, Mark. It's all.
They gonna hire the bull from Michigan. Like, I promise you, they gonna hire the bull from Michigan.
Hey, dog. Hey, if I see that, I know what he looked like now. If I see that man on the sideline for a Patriots game, dog, I'm cutting the TV off. I'm not watching the NFL ever again, dog. Straight up, you know what I'm saying? But but yeah, absolutely. He's gonna be gone. He's gonna be right back with the Patriots. I don't know how long it's gonna take, but that's where he's going. This comment, though, right? Josh so bad, I don't even let it be my coach in Madden. That's crazy, man. And then I got to bring up one more because this shit was crazy. Where's the Adam Gase comment? There it is.
Hold on. I just wanted to show this real quick.
Oh, my bad. Go ahead. Go ahead. Do your thing. The Browns like nasty work. Legal wasn't. That's crazy. I mean,
you know what's crazy? I actually do see the Browns doing that because they tend to welcome turmoil. Like, they tend to just be like, you know what? We sign up for turmoil because it gets people talking about us. Like I really feel as though the Browns live by the motto is there's no such thing as bad press.
Yeah. That I don't think they think there's anything such as a bad decision. They just, but yeah, it's bad. When I heard a Raiders fan say they'd rather have Adam Gase as a coach. That's bad. That's terrible, dog. Adam Gase as a coach. Look, man, I feel for the Raiders fans out there. Your team is in shambles. Imagine you have the dream team. You got. Okay, maybe Derek Carr is like Christian Laettner on the dream team, but he's on there anyway. You got Derek Carr, you got Darren Waller, you got Devontae Adams. You don't even know how you got a Devontae Adams. You're just glad that him and Derek Carr happened to be teammates in college, right? You get Devontae Adams. Renfro showed out the year before. You're like, man, we really going to be bossed up this year. You know what I'm saying? Josh Jacobs. You got Max Crosby going absolutely ape shit. He just got signed, and he's one of the few people you see get signed and play better. You know what I'm saying? After he gets his money, and then Josh McDaniels comes in, sends everybody packing. Derek Carr, get out of here. Darren Waller, you're too good. You got to leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, this shit is crazy, man. Like, I would be sick if I was a Raiders fan, only to see now we have a shell of a team, and now it's like, oh, well, the coach is gone. We fired him. Like, and this shit's terrible, Mark. But, yeah, I'm off that. I'm off that, man. What else we got, man? Josh McDaniels, I don't want to see him, and I don't even want to see him on the Patriots sideline, Mark.
All right, man. Next up, week 10, games to watch. All right. I'll lead this topic. For my games to watch, I have 2 games that I really want to see play out. I want to see the Cincinnati versus Houston game play out because with Cincinnati's renewed life, and with Houston's with CJ Stroud coming off of that spectacular win, I just want to see what's going to happen there. Like, I really want, like, you know what I mean? I really want to see what's going to happen in that game as far as what CJ Stroud is going to be able to do. And we know that, and I want to see if the Bengals can continue on that path that they are on, where they have basically righted the ship. The next game that I have is your team, the San Francisco 49ers versus Jacksonville. The reason why I have the and that looks like Rob has that team as well as a team that he wants to see. And it says Jags versus Niners. I agree. Jags versus Niners is going to be a good game, man. Jags coming off of a bye week at the same time that the 49ers are coming off of a bye week. 49ers needed that bye week because they had a 3-game skid of losing, and they just added a dog in Chase Young, and now you're going up against a team that has been on a bit of a win streak, 6-2 versus a 5-3 team, and you guys have had some trouble against the run. And you're going up against the number 3 runner in the NFL currently, which is Travis Etienne. So I think that is going to be an excellent game to watch, to see what happens there, because we already know Christian McCaffrey is going to do his thing. But the question is, now that you have Chase Young, are you guys going to be able to shut down Travis Etienne? Because it seems as though finally Doug Peterson has figured it out and said, feed Travis Etienne. That is our path to victory. So now that he's figured that out, are you guys going to be able to, put a kink in that plan? That is going to be an interesting game to watch for sure.
No, it is, man. You got any other games?
I'm just going to bring up Mo Green says Detroit versus Chargers. The reason why I'm going to just say why this could possibly be interesting. I disagree that this will be interesting. I think Detroit is just going to roll over the Chargers because Detroit offensively is much more complete. And especially if David Montgomery plays, that 2-headed monster that is now Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery, I do not think the Chargers will be able to handle that. They have not shown that they could handle that. And Justin Herbert seems to be a much lesser man this year, and the Detroit defense seems to be better. Like Detroit has shown that all they have to do is sit on Keenan Allen. That's basically all they have to do is sit on Keenan Allen, and Justin Herbert is not going to know what to do with himself from that point forward.
Yeah, he keys in. He gets dialed in, man. He put the blinders on, and all you can see is number 13, man. So real quick, but when I say I disagree with the fact that it's going to be a high scoring affair, Mark. Like you said, the defense is improved. Justin Herbert, I'll be honest, man. He doesn't. I don't care what his numbers say. He does not look as good as he's looked in the past. And I'm not even going to say it's by a lot, but I'm just telling you, I don't like what I see from him when it comes to him going through his progressions. But besides that, Mark, what Detroit has showed is this. They will get a lead, Mark, and they will commit to the run. It doesn't matter how great, how explosive that offense can be. They will get a lead and they will hang on to that with the run. And there is nothing that I've seen from the Chargers defense that says they're going to stop the run. So with that said, Mark, I just expect it to be a lower scoring game because I feel like Detroit's going to get up early, whether it be by one score or two. They're going to get up early and they're going to commit to the run and they're going to take the air out of the game. And so, like, I think it's going to be a low scoring game. It'll look closer than it is because they're going to be running the ball and keeping the number of possessions down. But nah, man, Detroit walks away with this one.
All right, very quickly before we move on to the next thing. Chargers need to use Palmer more. I'm just going to bring this up just for a correction. Chargers have put Palmer on IR, but your point still stands, Robert, because instead of saying Palmer in this situation, they need to use Quentin Johnston more. Quentin Johnston did not get utilized at all in this last game by and large for the most part. And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to Justin Herbert. Justin Herbert seems to only have eyes for one person. And I know that this is a Kellen Moore offense. And because it's a Kellen Moore offense, I know that is not the way the offense is designed. I know the offense is not designed for Keenan Allen to be the only star of the offense. I mean, we just saw last year with Dallas, Micah Gallup, he went off. He had good games. He had great games under a Kellen Moore offense. But now we are watching.
Hey, Ricky, dog. Hey, when you right, Ricky. Quentin Johnston is Pickens with Johnson's hands, bro. When I tell you, he has the most inconsistent hands, bro. Like, and this is what I talk about with Johnson, with fucking Deontay Johnson. Deontay Johnson will catch a toe tapper on the sideline, smothered, but then drop a wide open pass. And Quentin Johnston does the same shit, yo. But it's bad because he's not a route runner. This is insane, Ricky. I love it.
That is a good point. But the fact of the matter is, it doesn't change the fact that he did the same shit with Michael Williams was on the field. He did the same shit with Josh Palmer was on the field. So this isn't so it's not like I'm avoiding Quentin Johnston because of his inconsistencies. No, this is what you've been doing up until this point, regardless. Anyway, so. And that's something that Kenny Pickett needs to work on. Kenny Pickett has to see the rest of his teammates on the field. And like I said, I know this isn't a offensive coordinator thing in the play calling because we know what Kellen Moore and how his play calling goes because of his tenure in Dallas.
Yeah. Real quick, I saw Mo say this one, said low-key Washington, Seattle can be fun to watch for DFS. I'm only bringing this up because, Mo, dog, I wish you all the luck in the world coming up this week, man. Seems like you be getting emotionally invested in these bets, man. You be getting emotionally invested. I didn't bet on shit this week because I just knew it was going to be one of those weeks where things just wasn't going to go right. And you're absolutely right. Washington versus Seattle, nobody knows what the hell's going to happen in that game, man. You don't know which version of Washington or Seattle is going to show up, man. All I know is Kenneth Walker cannot give me 5 fantasy points or whatever the bullshit he's been giving me lately. I need Walker to show up, bro. That's what I need. So,
all right. So very quickly, I'm going to bring this up because this is going to be fast to get through. The Chargers need to fire Staley. Wholeheartedly agree. The Chargers needed to fire Staley last year. Yeah. That was factual. Like Staley's tenure as a Chargers head coach is nothing but bad. He cost his team a playoff berth by simply running a play, which everyone else seemed to have known, hey, don't do this, and we both go to the playoffs. Do not do this, and we both go to the playoffs because a tie will send us both there. And they went and did it. And bam. And then the Raiders responded like, "Well, f you, we're going to close this game out." And so yes, that would be kismet. That would just be how things work out. Like, you know what I mean? That would just be perfect, right?
Yeah, nah, that would be insanity. So real quick. But before I talk about the other game, I want to add to the list, Mark. Shout out to Uncle Bruce. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Uh, thanks, man. Thanks for showing up. I see what you did here, man. You tried to come in towards the end so you wouldn't hear us talk about the Giants. News for you. We didn't really talk about them that long, but we did talk about how horrible of a loss that was, and only in a fashion that only the Giants can provide. You know what I'm saying? Cooked, stewed to perfection. You know what I mean? The game was over before the end of the second quarter. But back to what I was saying. So the other game to watch for me, Mark, is going to be the Ravens Browns. And specifically, I want to see this game because Mark, because the Ravens are rolling, right?
Mhm.
We've seen the Ravens go on runs. We've never seen them look like this. But nonetheless, we've seen the Ravens look like they're just rolling, and then all of a sudden they have a game where the offense isn't clicking, guys are dropping passes, Lamar's fumbling the ball, turn it over. That usually is accompanied by some sort of leg injury to Lamar, right? Or a concussion, right? It just all falls apart mysteriously in one game, usually, Mark. Um, but these games are the type of games that in the past Lamar has somehow found a way to contribute to losing, right? This is a division game. The Browns defense is legit, right? But offensively, the Browns don't have it. In the Ravens defense is looking crazy right now. This should be an automatic win for the Ravens with the way that they've been rolling, Mark. But I'm watching this to see whether or not they will continue the streak of putting it all together and look like a Super Bowl contender, or whether they're going to take this divisional game, Mark, and either squeak out a little victory playing badly or lose, Mark. But I feel like one of the two is going to happen. I think they're either going to squeak it out or they're going to lose this game. Lamar Mayfield going to lose to the nasty man Browns. Lamar Mayfield is crazy. I don't even know why. I mean, I know why you said it, but that's crazy.
Hey, real quick. Hey, Uncle Bruce, if you could go ahead and do us a favor and follow us on YouTube and start watching our lives from YouTube, that'll be great. And another thing for Uncle Bruce and Ricky, if you guys joined us late, but I did put together a pretty good intro to the episode, and if you guys could go back to the beginning and watch that intro, that'll be nice, because I think I did a good job in my editing skills with that intro. So anybody that didn't see the intro, go back and watch it. I think you'll enjoy it. But anyway, hey, let's see. Bo Green says we see a well-balanced offense right now. Example, they can easily use Zay on deep throws, but they don't. Ravens don't rush, they win, and that is what makes the Ravens better than people sort of expect. All right. So all right. With that said, listen, here's wholeheartedly what I feel about the Ravens. I think the Ravens are, as long as Odell stays healthy, I think the Ravens are going to show a different look come playoff time. Because I think, here's the thing, Odell's hands are reliable. Up until this point, Lamar Jackson has not had a single reliable person in the playoffs as far as their hands go. And that includes Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews' hands have been nothing but unreliable in the playoffs. They have been
at questionable times, man.
Yes. I think that if OBJ stays healthy, I think we're going to see a different look come the end of the season, around like week 15 to the playoffs, we're going to see some different looks from that team that's going to have people that's going to just set people back. And that's going to be interesting as long as OBJ can make it to that point. And that's crazy because I don't know if he's going to make it to that point.
It absolutely, but there's just the key phrase. If OBJ can manage to stay healthy, and it's like, when has he ever? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
In recent times, when has he ever? Right. So it's just, but at the same time, his usage isn't high right now. So there's a chance that maybe he does. But yeah, like Ricky said, his knees ain't reliable. You're right, Ricky. They very unreliable. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, he's a Ferrari with a bad starter. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just crazy. But yeah, no, man. Like, yeah, the Ravens. But to his point, he said they don't rush the wins. Right? We've been seeing an uncanny amount of patience on the part of Lamar Jackson. My question mark. This is why I want to see this game. He's going to be under the gun with the Browns defense. Is he going to have that same level of patience when he's under fire?
All right, real quick. Bruce says, I'm going to need you to ask me that question again because I missed part of it.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
He says he really hasn't been a factor so far. And here's the thing. Remember when he went to the Rams? He wasn't a factor immediately. He was just kind of on the field immediately. But come playoff time, OBJ was a major factor for that team come playoff time. And we saw, and to your point and to Ricky's point, in that Super Bowl on that first drive, it was all OBJ all the way to the end zone. And then it was done because he got hurt.
Yeah,
but it was all OBJ. OBJ was lighting the world on fire for all of one drive.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Mo. And this is he's not your regular season wide receiver. Mark, at this point, let's be honest. At this point, has he now become the hired gun that was Robert Ory? Is he just like, look, man, we don't care what you do during the regular season, dog. But when you show up to the playoffs, we're going to be calling your number, man. Like, we're going to be calling you. So,
and look, and to Ricky's point, this is very true. He had an entire offseason to train with the Rams, and with the Ravens, and this is what we're getting is a very middling result. In fact, it's less than middling. But the only thing that I'm going to say to this point is that even with his most consistent wide receiver, Zay Flowers, it is still like there's no scenario in which I am willing to start Zay Flowers. Like, I would have to be like down all my receivers before I want to start Zay Flowers. And that's because their offense currently just doesn't utilize their wide receivers very well.
Yeah, they don't. But like I said, in the last 3 games, it's been better. Like I said, but the question I asked you, Mark, was, is Lamar Jackson going to show that same level of patience that he's shown over these last 3 games? Is he going to show you that same level of patience once he's under duress? And we're talking about the Browns' defensive line. When he's feeling that level of duress, is he going to revert back to his old ways, or is he going to still show us that same level of patience that he's shown us over the last 3 games?
Well, here's the thing about that though. With the weapons that they have, I think he has room to not be patient. Like, because teams have to focus on Zay Flowers. They have to focus on OBJ no matter what. And Mark Andrews is still Mark Andrews. So he's already commanding what he commands. So I think that if he decides not to be patient come playoff time, like, it's going to provide a little bit more room because they have to. And if they decide to focus on him, then there's no need for the patience because one of those three is going to be open.
Well, let me put it this way. I'm saying patience, but I'm also meaning poise, right? Because that's where the patience comes from, is this poise. Is he going to show the same poise? Because you can be patient and still take off and run when you need to. We've seen it with Patrick Mahomes and guys like Aaron Rodgers in the past, but I'm talking about under duress. Okay, do I hold on to the ball too long this play? Or do I take off into a situation to where that's what they wanted? They forced me into taking off and I ran right into the teeth of the defense. Because the things that have happened have caused them to get these injuries, to have these fumbles, and have these turnovers, is because he starts to get a little flustered when he's trying to essentially put the team on his back and try to win the game by himself. He cannot revert back into the person that says, I have to win the game by myself by making every play from here on out. He needs to be able to discern, I can make 2 or 3 plays right now that they absolutely needed me to make, but then now I can step back into what we were doing.
So, but here's the thing. I think that's what he's figuring out already. I think that's what he's figuring out right now, because look at that last game. This last game, I would put this last game's victory on everybody but Lamar Jackson. Like the game from week 9 that they just won, I would put that on everybody but Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson had very pedestrian numbers. Yeah. And yet they won super convincingly. They won because of their defense. They won because of Mitchell. They won because of Gus Edwards. They won because of everything other than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson just had to show up and be there. Like, you know what I mean? So, like, I think that he's learning that it doesn't have to all be on him,
This shit, Carson Wentz coming out of the deer hunting stand, plucked from the fields of North Dakota. This shit wild. Like, you know what's nasty work?
No, now here, real quick, Ricky, I wholeheartedly agree with you. And it's not me putting too much faith in this team, and they haven't, because you're right, they haven't been much outside of the run game. It's me expecting them to show a second look, and if you're saying you don't see them showing a second look when they need to, I don't have any proof to show you that they will show a second look when they need to. But I'm just, so I guess you're kind of right. I am putting faith in the fact that they have the second look available when they need it.
So so real quick, I'm gonna tell you right now, the two comments that Ricky did, that one, too much faith in the team, they haven't been much, and then him also stating that he's not expecting a second look. I agree with Ricky on both of those comments. I personally don't have that much faith, and that's why it's going to be interesting to see this Browns game, because those steps that he's taken have been against defenses that were nowhere near as good as the one he's about to face. This will be the marker. If he does it and he overcomes here, this will be the step that he needs to take, Mark.
That's funny.
Oh.
That's funny.
Game 6, Jordan. Hey, look, man. Look. Hey, as a Niners fan, he got us up out of there. You know what I'm saying? Like we talk about the Super Bowl right now, but he definitely did us up in the fucking in the NFC Championship game.
Right.
I mean, he had some big plays. He didn't dominate like he was on that drive, but he every big play that they needed him to make out because we were keying in on Cooper Kupp, he made, right? So yeah, man. Game 6, Jordan, okay, that's a little crazy. But nah, man, Odell did contribute a lot, and it did throw a wrinkle in there. But
I'm not gonna lie. I am being a bit hopeful. Like, it's a bit more hopeful than me. It's a bit hopeful, but the fact of the matter is that my hope in what I'm saying is grounded in reality. It's not grounding in. It's not in make believe. Like there is some sort of evidence or some sort of thing that I am pointing to that says why I'm thinking this way.
Okay, so Bo says Lamar is like the New Jersey twerk of NFL. He's good, but he chokes or comes unprepared when he's supposed to be on 100. Now, for those of you that aren't familiar with battle rap, New Jersey twerk is a battle rapper, and if I know Mo like I know Mo, I guarantee you Mo knows him personally because he was part of the scene down there in VA. And I know Mo used to battle rap, but yeah, Mook 2-1, that's crazy. That's crazy. But anyways, yeah, New Jersey Twerk is notoriously known as being arguably the most talented battle rapper, but then he's also the most likely to let you down, you know?
Right.
So, and I can see the parallels, what you're saying there with him and Lamar Jackson, considering Lamar Jackson only has one playoff win.
Like, listen, guys, you're not gonna get me to put my dukes up and defend Lamar Jackson. I'm gonna be like, all right, like if you really want to go at him, go ahead. Like I just said my piece, but after that, yeah, all right, you got it. Like, cause I feel you, I understand what y'all saying.
Hey, that's crazy, yo. Now they're just talking battle rap. We're gonna ignore those comments, but yeah, I'm saying move 3-0, but let's see what we got here. Uncle Bruce. Lamar will be doing more running this week against the Browns defense, as he should though. Like he shouldn't just sit back there and take the sacks. Like, but that's what I'm saying. How is this mentally going to affect him? Is he going to think, man, I've been winning by throwing and being patient. Let me be patient with this defense. Let me sit in here a little bit longer than I'm supposed to.
No. He shouldn't sit in the pocket, but he should escape with the idea of I'm escaping to throw versus I'm escaping to run.
I'm just going off of the old Lamar that I know.
I know, but I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just saying what he should go in with the game plan.
No. Yes, absolutely. Hey, Uncle Bruce, he said he didn't do much running last week. We talked about this. The defenses that he's been facing have not been this defense. He like I said, he should run against the Browns. Like they have all the weaponry up front to give them headaches. And I did see. I want to say it was Mo who said earlier that he's good against secondaries. He's good against great secondaries. He's not good against great front sevens. And we've seen that over the years. It's true. Great front sevens seem to know how to bottle him up when he tries to run. And then that forces him into the pocket situations to where he holds onto the ball too long. So I agree with that statement. But yeah, I just, like I said, he's got his hands full with the Browns. We're going to see about that.
All right, man. Let's go ahead and get off this topic and get into our next topic here. We're going to switch. We're going to switch lanes here and go from the NFL to the NBA, and we're going to do a little bit of around the league. In the NBA right now, we are essentially 6 to 7 games into the league, and we're just going to talk about some things that we've seen. Anything that you want us to talk about, or anything that you want our opinions on, go ahead and put them in the comment section. But we are now talking about the NBA. So let's just go ahead and start with the first thing here. It says the Harden system. Sean. I'm gonna let you lead this topic. But before I let you lead this topic, I'm going to say that James Harden just said, like, we're going to talk about before he joined the team, or at least before he actually played with the team. Mind you, they did lose their first game with James Harden on the court. But he did say. He said, "I am not a system player. I am a system." And
yeah, he did say that, didn't he?
And he's what else did he say, Sean? You got some more quotables?
He said, I'm not a system player. I am a system. He said he felt like Philly had him they had him strapped. They had him on a leash. They weren't letting him really be who he needs to be. He said that it's not about him just jacking up a bunch of shots and scoring points, but he feels like he needs to have he needs a coach that's going to allow him to play freely, and he feels like he wasn't getting that in Philly. I actually agree with what Harden said. The problem is his system don't lead to championships. Yo, hey, look, hey, you know what? You know what's crazy? You say he's a system. He's not a system. Like, I'm just gonna start chopping some of this up real quick. He said he's a system, Mark. My question to you is, and this is a rhetorical question: Is Kyrie Irving a system? Because he just do the same shit that Kyrie does. You give him the ball, he does whatever the hell he wants with the ball. You can jack up a shot, go to the hoop, dribble around. Maybe he passes, you know what I'm saying? But you can guarantee that he's going to take more shots than he needs to. He's going to take a few bad shots. And if he's having a bad game, he's still not giving the ball up. Is that a system? Or is that you just run around being a ball hog, Mark? Because the system shit needs to be dead.
No. I'm going to structure this a little bit for you. So because you said the system shit or whatever, blah blah blah, but now speak on what you were talking to me about earlier when you were saying that this MFer, like he was all on, like what Doc Rivers was saying, he was all on board until he found out he didn't make the All-Star team. Yeah, speak on it.
I was getting there. I was going in a little bit. I was getting a little too excited. Yeah, man. So, Doc Rivers did an interview with Dan Patrick the other day, and it was like the day after Harden made his comments, and he spoke to it, and he said, and mind you, this is after Joel Embiid already made his comments saying that they did give him the ball every play, and they did it because he's a great point guard and he's a great distributor and he makes the right decisions and all that stuff. Like he said, he had no issues with them. But either way, Doc Rivers goes to speak to Dan Patrick about it, and he says he's a great player. He's a great player, and he was great for us. And in the beginning of the season, we ran everything through him, and he was leading. He led the league then in assists, and he ended the season leading the league in assists. And he said, but at that time when they had everything funneling through James Harden and he was playing within the system, so to speak, he said there was like a 20-game stretch where they were easily the best team in the league. And it said the moment that he did not make the All-Star team, and if you guys know and understand, that affects the amount of money that they can make when it comes to incentives and all that stuff, and being all NBA or making an All-Star team. He said once he realized that he wasn't going to be on an All-Star team, he said within 2 days, his entire gameplay changed, his entire attitude towards playing changed, and that's when everything shifted. And it's very strange because if you let James Harden tell it, he says it's not about money. You know? So now he's moving to the Clippers, and he's expecting to not get screwed out of his bag, I guess. You know what I'm saying? So that's what he means by when he says, I am a system. I'm not a system guy. He's saying, look, man, I came here to get my ducats. So let me get my shit off, you know?
All right. Very quickly, I did not know this. Troy got some information that I didn't know. He said the crazy thing is he did make the All-Star team. The fool didn't answer Adam Silver's phone call, so they gave the spot to somebody else. That is news to me. And if that's
wild.
But that's a wild thing to hear. I did not know that. That's crazy.
I'll give you 3, but I'm gonna take a wild guess and say that you only need 1 guess for this one. I'll give you 3 guesses to take a stab at where he might have been when the Adam Silver call came in, Mark. If you had to guess, Mark, where would you put your money on?
Well, I'm on. The obvious answer is the strip club.
I'm just saying, like,
I'm gonna go left, and I'm gonna say he was in the South Beaches of France with Little Baby.
Hey, look, that's possible. That's possible. You gotta look at the dates for that. But yeah, dude. I mean, but how you gonna be sour
See,
about that?
Ricky got me. See, Ricky
Yeah,
got
yeah.
me.
See, yeah. Like, but either way, man. Like, you can't be mad at nobody but yourself if that's the case, man. Like, James Harden, like I said, and I said this to you when we talked about it before, Mark. He's acting like a petulant child. Like, that's what he is right now. You telling me he's not going to talk to Daryl Morey anymore because he found out Daryl Morey was what put him into some was fielding trade talks? Like, Daryl Morey, the dude that created you, and I'm going to say created loosely. He was a great player, but Daryl Morey is the person who gave you the ultimate green light. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't. And then what did he do? He made it a soft, cushy place for you to land in Philly after everything that happened with the Nets. Everybody just acted like shit didn't happen, right? He did that. You know what I'm saying? He's been taking care of you for most of your career, and then off of one little thing, you're gonna be like, nah, F you. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy.
All right, real quick. I'm just gonna let Troy know that we will address this question. I want to hear y'all thoughts about the Eagles defense before y'all leave. I understand last year, but it's a new year, new coordinator. Why don't we have adjustments for when wide receiver one plays slot receivers? All right, I will address that. Okay. Jerry says OKC created them. I'm sorry, you already put that up. OKC created them. And then, all right. So he says, Ricky says, look, he hired Oubre and Oubre stole his girl. Then he says, Oubre's got kids with her now. Like, wow. On top of that,
but how does that fall on Morey though? That's what, like, you know what I'm saying? You know what this shit is like, man. It's like you getting roasted in the group, and you don't got nothing to say to the person that's roasting you, but you hear a little laughter in the back corner. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Hey, man, F you. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know why you laughing. Like, that's what this is, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, man. Like, it's a lot going on there, and here's the thing.
Ricky be deep diving. Ricky get interested in the
NBA.
Rick,
I like when Ricky's in here for the NBA topics, and it would be great if Ricky would join the show for the NBA topics at some point. But I like when Ricky is in here for the NBA topics. But here's the thing: when it comes to Harden stuff, for me, I don't believe in James Harden. I don't believe in James Harden as being able to close with any team. Daryl Morey did that after Harden said he wasn't coming back to Philly.
Still, to my point, he shouldn't have any beef with Daryl.
Right. But here's the thing, man. Like I was saying, I don't believe that James Harden is a closer. I don't believe he is capable of being a closer. I don't think that the Harden system works because the Harden system revolves around only James Harden in a sport where 5 people are on the court at one time. And I think that's the problem. James Harden is his biggest enemy. James Harden, when he was with Chris Paul, that's where he reached his highest heights. And the reason why they didn't go further beyond that is because of James Harden. James Harden decided that anytime Chris Paul had the ball, he was going to become a statue. He decided that he was going to start doing the mannequin challenge anytime Chris Paul had the ball and have his middle finger up. And then that led to fights, and now Chris Paul was no longer on the team. Like, he pouts, and then he ended up getting Russell Westbrook, who Russell Westbrook could only play one type of way. Russell Westbrook could only play as the point guard. He can't be anything else. He can't be a spot-up shooter. He can't do anything other than be the point guard, but you have the ability to do other things. Ricky says that's not true. What part of it's not true?
I think he's probably speaking to. Well, actually, I'm not gonna assume. I'm not gonna make an assumption.
What are you talking about? That's not true. Are you talking about the Chris Paul part not being true, or what? I don't know. But moving on, like with the Westbrook can only play one particular way. He's not a spot up shooter. He's not, and all that. Westbrook can't do any of the other stuff. Like, so you have to allow Westbrook to be the point guard because you are the guy that can do. You are the guy that can do all those things. Mm-hmm. Like, you are the guy that can do. You can play the shooting guard spot. You have to acquiesce a little bit and let Westbrook be himself because that's the only way you're going to get the best out of him. But Westbrook was the person that acquiesced more, and that's how that didn't work out. And in the situation in Philly, we see how that played out, where like you were doing excellent, but you weren't satisfied with that, and then and that just wasn't enough for you, and that fell apart. I don't know what's going to happen here, but I know that what's being said of James Harden right now, because I'm not even going to say that it's true. I'm going to say that what's being said of James Harden right now is prior to him getting to the Clippers, he had a conversation with the Rockets about going to the Rockets with Ime Udoka. And in his conversation with Ime Udoka, he talked about scoring. This is what's being reported. He talked about scoring titles. He talked about being the best player in the league again and all that stuff. And Ime said, nah, we're going to go ahead and pass on that because that's not what we're on right now. We're on a more team-orientated thing, not one player being the superstar. And so they passed on him in that situation. If James Harden's mindset is there and he's going to the Clippers where they have Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, and a former MVP in Russell Westbrook, it's not going to work, bro. If you think you're going to be the guy to show out and you're looking for scoring titles, there's other people that needs the ball, and there's only one ball, man.
Yeah, well, real quick, I just wanted to address this. He said the system was based on them playing ISO ball in the 20 system because they at the time were the two highest ISO scoring players at the time. That is true. The difference is this: like when you run ISO ball, one of the biggest components of that is, let's say you have Chris Paul at the top of the key, right, and you have Harden 6 feet away from him to his right. If Chris Paul starts moving to his right, then it's James Harden's responsibility to move out of the way, because that's how it remains an ISO. It's not an ISO if now the player that's guarding you, James Harden, is now leaning towards Chris Paul. Like, that's a problem. That's not an ISO anymore. The players that do not have the ball, their primary objective is to move the defenders away from the ball. So Chris Paul, wherever he's going during his ISO, if you are in his path, you move out of the way. And what we're saying when we're saying like he's a statue, it didn't matter if Chris Paul was moving in his direction. I've watched a clip of him looking at him, shooing him away, and he's just standing there. It's like, come on, dog. Like,
right. Like that, and like that's what I'm saying when he was doing the mannequin challenges. That it didn't matter where any other player was moving on the field. On the court. James Harden was still standing in the same place because he didn't have the ball in his hand.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
And Westbrook should have stayed with my Wizards. Now look at us. Jordan Poole got to be ranked. What's that? Is that 3 zillion? I don't know what number that is. In defense, look, hey, Jordan Poole only came here for one reason and one reason only, dog. To jack up a bunch of shots, dog. I hope you're ready to watch this man do his best, Chef Curry impersonation, because that's all he's here to do. He's here to show the world that, damn it, I'm just as good as these guys or better, because that's what he wanted to prove when he was in Golden State, but they wouldn't let him because they were too smart. Okay? He said yeah, that's crazy.
But here's the thing.
Joe Gibbs? Joe Gibbs racing? No, I'm talking to Mo. Because he was talking about NASCAR and stuff.
To go ahead and wrap this thing up about Harden. The long and short of it is that Harden seems to be very centric on himself. And if at least that's what is being presented to us. That is what is being presented to us as the public, and James Harden isn't necessarily saying anything to change it. So, that is the truth. James Harden is not going. Of 4 All-Stars, 2 former MVPs is not going to work at all.
Let's call it 4 future Hall of Famers. Let's just call it what it is.
4 future Hall of Famers, 2 former MVPs. It's not going to work, and it's going to land solely in James Harden's lap for it not working, because from what he's already said in the media, he is focused on himself. He is focused on what he can do. And guess what? There's one ball, and at least 4 of you need it. So,
yeah,
like, dog, that's not going to work.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is what it is, man. The Bucks. I know you didn't really have much on this, Mark, but I just wanted to bring up. Yes, Jerry, you are absolutely right. His Clippers. Clippers. Wherever Russ plays, you know what I'm saying?
That's where I go.
That's where he gonna be. So, but for the Milwaukee Bucks, man, they've been struggling defensively a lot more than people expected them to, with the simple swapping out of, at point guard of Dame Lillard for Drew Holiday. This is the thing about it. Dame never played defense before, so I don't understand why people are surprised. The Bucks played great team defense. Even though Drew Holiday is a great individual defender, the Bucks' strength defensively was that they all play great team defense, okay? And anytime you remove one of the key pieces of that team defense, that great team defense, then what's going to happen is it's going to mess up the chemistry. You know what I mean? It is what it is. And then also, if you're trying to hide somebody on defense, that also disrupts the chemistry. And I honestly think that's the real problem, is you have to hide Dame Lillard on defense. Okay? It just is what it is, man. You have to hide him. So
all right,
they're going to see more struggles. They'll figure out a way to hide them. They will figure out a way to hide them. But it's not going to – they'll figure it out, but they're still not going to be this great defense. They're going to have to rely on Dame putting up a bunch of points. They're going to have to rely on Giannis doing what he does, Chris Middleton doing what he does. They are – what I'm saying is you're going to see the makeup not the makeup of the team, but you're going to see – the identity of this team change during the course of the season if they want to win a championship, Mark.
I think here's the thing here. I think Milwaukee still has a shot of figuring it out. I think it's going to take time.
I think they will.
I think that trade happened too late in the season. I mean, it happened too late. They needed
late in general, yeah,
and it happened too late in the off season. Rather, that trade needed to happen at the beginning of the off season for them to figure this out. Everything that Ricky is saying is very true. Like Ricky, I have it up right now. That man said, "I learned to shoot from 40 because I can't figure out double teams." But hey, here's the thing about that: when you're on a team with Giannis, you don't have to figure out double teams. Like you have like because it's going to take creative play calling to where they can't double team you because Giannis is out there. So they're going to have to figure that out to work that out some way, some form, and that's going to take a proper coach to do that. And I'm not the person, and I'm not going to try to figure it out right here on the fly neither. But
let me help you out, Jerry. Ricky is a Warriors fan, okay? A Warriors fan.
But yeah, like the fact of the matter is that this is going to take time. This is not, when we saw the trade, this was not something that anybody thought this is out of the box great.
Yeah, like, it wasn't a perfect fit like KD to the Warriors.
Right.
You know?
Like nobody thought like out of the box this is going to work right away. Now, one thing we could all think of was that out of the box had Dame went to the Heat, out of the box that was going to work.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that would be that's a different situation, man. But yeah, this is one of those. Well, we did an episode about it, man. We questioned whether or not if there was going to be some chemistry issues or fit issues with Dame going to Milwaukee. So we did see this coming. So that's definitely something. I mean, I'm glad we talked about it. We're seeing it now, but I think it's too early to say this was a mistake. It's too early to say that they're not going to figure this out. They will figure it out. But like I said, the Bucks are just going to be playing a different brand of basketball in order to make this work.
Yeah, like it's going to take some figuring it out, man. And I don't know where that's going to work. Now, Ricky says if he was in Miami, they would hunt him. He's worse than Tyler Hero on D.
They would hunt him, and you're absolutely right.
You're right on defense, but I think offensively, Miami would be. I just think that it would even out offensively.
It would have to, because late game is where you would want that. Like that would be the whole purpose of you having Dame on the Heat. Would be late game. We don't need Jimmy burning himself out, playing defense, and then also having to score the last 9 of 11 points on offense at the end of the game, right? But to Ricky's point, at the end of the game is exactly when they would hunt him. You know what I mean? Hey, they just scored down on their end. Now we're going to score by specifically getting the switch that we need to put Dame on our best player, and then that's how we're going to score. So, I mean, but hopefully in that scenario, Mark, you're trading 2s with 3s, so it balances out, you know? But,
I mean, I definitely see the flaw in the system in what Ricky is saying. Like, I understand what he's saying.
It would look better than this right now.
But yeah, it would definitely be better than this. That's for facts. But all right, moving on from Milwaukee. Listen, man, how are you guys liking the tournament courts? Like, just like I hate. Like, this is just a gee whiz thing to talk about, but I hate the tournament courts. Like that, like. Maybe I'm an old man, but give me the simple hardwoods. That looking at the blue courts and looking at the red courts and all that. Yo, get that trash out of here, man. I don't want to see that on my TV, man. Like that shit is trash. Sean, how you feel?
Look, man, you're talking about being an old man and just not liking change. I'm gonna speak from a different old man angle. Mark, my eyes hurt when I'm watching the damn court, man. Like, I already am at the point to where I had damn near perfect vision to where now I have to wear glasses, right? My eyes are already deteriorating, man. I don't need the process sped up just because I'm trying to see a fucking NBA game, Mark. That red court was ridiculous, Mark. It is like we had to deal with years of Boise State, man, and everybody complaining about that damn blue field. And then now you guys say, you know what? We're bringing it back. You know what I'm saying? The tournament courts are terrible. I think they just need to They need to throw some more lighter colors in there, or give us some specks of wood in there. Something.
Now, here's the thing. What Ricky is saying, like he said, because he said the college ball, and you brought up Boise State, and he said Brooklyn Nets. Now, the Brooklyn Nets court, that's gray. That's gray. It's not a bright red or a bright blue or a bright yellow. It's gray.
And it's not matching the color of the basketball. None of that.
Yeah, it's a norm. So it's a subdued color already. So like I could deal with gray. I can't deal with a bright red court. Like that's crazy to me. Like I don't want to see that. Okay. Well, let me put it this way, man. All right, now even with the gray, there's gray hardwoods. Like you can do the gray hardwoods and stuff, and I like that. Like you know what I mean?
Thank you, Ricky. It's nasty with the visiting team jerseys, dog.
Yeah,
people are blending into the court. Like it's straining and it's hurting my eyes, dog. My eyes are fatigued halfway through the game, man. Look, I like the idea of having a different color scheme for the tournament. Stuff, right? For the tournament courts. I like that. I like the idea of it. It's just poor execution, man.
What Ricky is saying, he's talking about the Brooklyn Nets court. It looks like Sin City because you got a gray background with one person with light color.
That's funny. All pop off like you watching Sin City. That's funny. It's just I like the idea. Poor execution. Go back, take away some of those solid bright colors, and we're good, man. It's very fixable. But please, you expect me to watch? You expect me to watch how many games of this tournament action? Like it's not happening, bro. He said, "Mo, you drink till the Wizards game." Hey, nah, he probably smoked though. I guarantee you he smoked when he watched the Wizards play. I'm almost. I mean, you can look at his. Jerry, pay attention, man. I want you to look at his little avatar when he comments. But
yeah, man. But yeah, 100%, man. Like it's just the interesting thing about the courts, and I just wanted to bring that up because so far that's the poor execution thing that I have right now with with this tournament thing. We'll see how it plays out in the end, like when they come down to like I guess what would be the Sweet 16 of the tournament and stuff. We'll see how that works out at that point. But right now, the outside of the courts, I don't really have a problem with the tournament. But let's go ahead and hold on. I want to look at what this off-topic thing says. Off topic, but I gotta ask because of Sean's background and me and Mark debate about this all the time. Ether takeover. Oh, come on, man! Don't even ask that. It's takeover all day.
Look, man. With run around with whiskers like a rat. You know what I'm saying? Compared to beans you whack. Are those bars to you? Troy?
It's takeover.
Man look like a camel. Are those bars to you? When he broke down his shit and told you that's a one hot album every 10-year average and ain't nobody looked at it differently since? Come on, man. This is crazy, man. This is apples to creme brulee. This is not even close, man. It's not close, man. Stop it.
All right. So, all right, but back to the topic. All right, man. Now it's me going to get into.
Very funny.
Now we're going to get into what we wanted to get into. Listen, I'm just going to state it flat out. Caleb Williams, man. Where are your guys' respect level for Caleb Williams at this point? Ricky, I know where yours is, but everybody else, where's your respect level for Caleb Williams right now? Because here's the thing. I don't know if I can respect the guy that comes out with all the bravado and beating his chest talking about, hey, whoever draft me, if the wrong teams drafts me, I'm coming back to college. If the wrong team has that first pick, I'm not leaving. And whoever draft me, you better be willing to give me 10% of the team. Like these are the things that this dude beat his chest about. And then he comes out here, loses a game. Not only does he lose the game, but he loses the game partly because of his poor play, or his lack of great play, rather. And then the first thing he does when he loses is run over and pouts on his mom's chest. I don't like. I know emotions run high, and I understand that, and I don't want to be the guy that says you can't be a normal person and like you can't have emotions on the field and all that. But I mean, at what point are we going to say enough is enough? At what point are we going to say, dog, like that's unacceptable? Like I don't want to see that from. Do y'all want to see that from somebody? Y'all want to see the guy that's beating his chest out there, like that's supposed to be the best and all that, and then he's running to his mom when things don't go his way?
You can't give somebody the keys to your franchise, let alone give them a stake in your franchise. Like you're asking for a lot, man. There's only like 2 or 3 guys, quarterbacks in NFL history that I would look at and say, you know what, maybe we could give you the keys to the franchise like that, like giving them a stake of the team. I think of guys like Peyton Manning. I think of guys like Tom Brady. You know what I mean? Maybe even Brett Favre. But you look at guys that mean that much to their team, and it's only after the fact of what they did that I say, okay, maybe giving them a stake in the team might be something that you could do, right? So you're already asking for something that says you're a top 5 quarterback of all time. Top 5 quarterback of all time requires a lot.
I want to address this.
Oh, Mark, I brought it up. I was going to let you address it. I was going to do it, but I'll let you speak.
Ricky, when it comes to Embiid, it's funny because one of our first things that we ever did, I spoke on Embiid. Embiid used to be the troll of the league. He used to be the troll of the league. He used to run around trolling everybody, talking crazy, doing all this other stuff. And then when it came to Kawhi, and he used to not take the game seriously. And when it came to Kawhi, and then when it came to that, he wanted to pout and all that stuff. And I used to talk about how he says in the interviews and in the media, I am the best player in the league. I am the best center, and no one can beat me when I am at my best. I am the best player. I deserve MVP. No one can beat me. And then when it comes down to it, when I cannot perform, I go ahead and cry in the hallways because we lost, and it was largely because of my fault. But I'm going to blame my teammates because it's never my fault. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it makes sense to me.
Nah, look, man, I'm not even gonna lie. Look, anytime Mark does his MB impersonations, this shit is just gold to me. I will say I don't even care what he's saying, but to your point, Mark, and to Ricky, when we were first starting out with the podcast, this happened, okay, and we spoke on it, and he spoke on it even more in depth with a little bit more, disgust towards Embiid when we did. But we did speak on this, man. And Mark, I can tell you, if there's anybody, you barking up the wrong tree. If there's anybody that despises Joel Embiid and his antics, it's Mark. Okay, so yeah, nah, man, Joel Embiid, like, nah, you're not gonna get no arguments from us about the Joel Embiid nonsense. See, Ricky said, how does he get on? Maybe not tonight. He's not trying to type this shit out. Mark, you want to give him some time? because I don't like Ricky. Do you have a computer? Are you on a computer? Or are you on your phone? Because I don't know if you can get to it on your phone.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We can do a special thing where we just talk about that because I would love to talk about that. That's perfectly fine, and we can just do a little 15-minute thing or whatever whenever you have time to talk about that. But when it came to that specifically, all right, cool.
Okay,
next
cool.
week, no problem.
Next week, I'm cool. Yeah.
All right. So, but here's the thing: when it came to that, when it came to Embiid and all that shit, I hate that shit. I hate it. I hate anybody that sets themselves up that way and can't eat it. And as someone who does that, I do it. Like, if you play video games with me, if you do anything, I talk crazy. But I talk crazy to get the best out of you. And if I lose, I'm not going to pout. When I lose, I'm not going to pout and none of that. Like, so it is what it is. Like, I'm just like, all right, we eat that. We eat those. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but so when Embiid did it, it killed me. And here's the first instance in which Embiid ever did it, and then I'm gonna get back to Caleb Williams very quickly. The first instance Embiid ever did it was, or at least where I saw it, was in a game against OKC against Russell Westbrook. He was out there trolling, doing his thing. Him and Ben Simmons, they were out there trolling, talking all crazy, and Russ kept going at him, and Russ win. And when Russ wins, like, it was still time on the clock, but Russ had the ball in his hand, and Embiid is sitting on the bench. Russ is bouncing the ball, just staring like laser darts at Embiid, just staring, bouncing hard as he can. Embiid is looking everywhere but at Russ. Like, now, mind you, you've been going at Russ all game, but when you didn't work out your way, you looked off into space, you looked at the ground, you looked everywhere but at Russ. I don't respect that, because you was all for it, but now when it came down to it, you lost. Your heart is gone. You don't have that same heart no more. Like, I don't respect that shit. That shit is corny to me. And it looks like Troy knows exactly what I'm talking about. Like, see, like, Troy knows exactly what I was talking about. Embiid looking everywhere but at Russ. Like, I would have respected Embiid if he was like, yeah, I was talking that shit. I might have lost today, but I'll get you next time. I would have respected that. But I don't respect that. I don't respect that aspect. And I don't like, from what Caleb is doing in this aspect, is if you're going to be that guy that falls to your emotions, that's okay. But also understand who you are. Like, and maybe he's young, and maybe this is the lesson that he's going to learn, to fall, like, to understand his emotions. But if you're going to fall to your emotions and go cry to your mom, don't be out here being the bravado, beat your chest guy. I'm the best. Like, give me a piece of ownership and all that. I don't want to hear that. I'm not for it. I don't care. Like, because if you're going to be the beat your chest guy, you better win. Because if you don't win, you better be able to take it.
Yeah. So I'm going to address these comments real quick. All of them. So Caleb is literally the team. He doesn't have any big name wide receiver. Lincoln Riley ain't doing much. This man is making spectacular play after spectacular play with 5 games with 50 points or more. Give me a second. Hold on. I'm getting to it. And it says Caleb is doing just fine. They just have a doo-doo defense, right? You're saying all these things, Mark.
That was this game. That's not every game.
But that's not even the point. The point is this. The same way that people look at LeBron and say, we're holding you to a higher standard. Going 4-6 in the NBA Finals is amazing. It's an amazing feat for any player, okay? But once you come out and say, in Miami, we're going to get not 4, not 5, not 6, and then you win 2 out of 4, then that's where the criticism comes. It's not coming because you're failing. It's not coming because you're not great. It's coming because you promised us this, okay? And now we're not getting this. You beat your chest like you were going to give us this, and now you're not, okay? So for Caleb Williams, you can't. If Caleb Williams never says, I ain't coming out if the wrong team chooses me. If he never said that, if he never said, hey man, I demand part ownership in the team. If he never says those things, we look at this situation and say, man, what you have is a young, talented quarterback who went through a situation or is just having a rough season because the defense sucks. But we're going to hold you to a higher standard if you're demanding ownership in the team. Right? You demand ownership in the team. You're telling the teams that you're not going if they draft you. I expect GOAT tier shit from you if that's the way you're going to talk.
And I expect a certain level of poise from you if that's the way you're going to talk.
Oh, it's indirect, Ricky. It's indirect. He didn't promise anything, but there's only one reason why you want to be the first player to own part of the team that you're playing for, is you think you're worth it. Okay? And then also, if you're saying that you're not going to go to a team if they draft you, you're saying that because you're telling people that I'm worth more than that. Okay? You're promising me that you're that dude.
Very quickly, Ricky, don't get this misconstrued. Caleb Williams is definitely still a great NFL prospect. He is still probably one of the best. Marvin Harrison is 100% above Caleb Williams. Marvin Harrison should be number 1, no matter what. I don't care. But here's the fact that it matters. Like, Caleb Williams is still a great prospect. This isn't an indictment on Caleb Williams, the prospect. This is an indictment on Caleb Williams, in which something he needs to learn from and grow from. This is where growth as a person happens a little bit.
Yeah, I don't want to say character. Some people might say that because he's so young. I'm not going to say character. But I'm trying to think of another word.
I'm on crack. Hey man, you can feel that way, but
it's not. It's not. I don't want to say he has bad character, or this is a sign that he has bad character. But this is definitely a personality trait. Okay, this is definitely a personality trait that you want to look at and keep your eye on if you're a team that's vetting him. And then Jerry was wild for saying, like, because we're talking about what you expect when somebody says this, and he said you expect Eli Manning. That's a wild comment. I get what you're saying, but this is why everybody was on. People forget how hard everybody was on Eli Manning because of the trade thing. They was on Eli Manning's head till he won that Super Bowl. Let's call it what it is, man. Like
Eli Manning had to eat a lot of crow. For the situation he and his dad created. Like, they had to eat a lot of crow behind that. And Dustin says it correctly. I love Caleb. He just ate a little piece of humble pie is all. And that's exactly what happened. I am just saying, even though he just ate a little humble pie, I'm saying I don't like that. Like, that's the way you respond to it is the running to your mom crying in her shoulder.
Look, Mark, I would even venture to say if this was the national championship, I wouldn't even have a problem with it. Like, the stakes of the game are too low, bro. Like, I can't.
Right. Like, Doug. Like, you know what I'm saying? Bro, it just, I don't know, man.
And dare I say, maybe he wouldn't feel so strongly about it if he wasn't already running around saying all the things that he's been saying.
Right.
Part of the Caleb Williams hype has been built by Caleb Williams and the things that he's saying. Like so I would say maybe he needs to take a step back and kind of be a little quieter in the media.
Maybe.
Just take a step back, because what he's doing is he's putting this pressure on himself. And once he realizes that, he needs to realize that, and he needs to realize, you know what? Maybe I'm putting too much on my plate, and just back off of it a little bit. He's putting, dare I say, he's putting the cart before the horse.
Yeah. All right. So with that being said, all right. Ricky said with this, he just lost the possibility of the Heisman and is out of the playoffs. That's big stakes.
Fair enough, Ricky. I got you. But you can't tell me that's important when everything else you've been doing has been not related to that. Like you have to prioritize, and this is where Mark is saying that's a lesson. You know what I'm saying? Maybe I should have spent less time talking about what I'm going to do when I get to the NFL.
Right. All right. So listen. Yeah, exactly. But speaking of what you're just saying, where people are putting the cart before the horse and all that jazz and everything we're talking about. Hey, let's switch gears, man. Let's talk about LSU. LSU women's basketball. LSU women's basketball lost to the Colorado Buffaloes 92-78. So yeah, man, they got blown out. Sean, you to direct this conversation, you were saying that you saw someone that already predicted this. Can you speak on that?
Yeah, man. The person that I saw, some just random person on Twitter, but they spoke on it. They said, "Hey, man, this is not going to be a walk in the park game. I know Colorado was ranked 20, LSU ranked 1. Everybody knows about LSU getting all the top recruits transferring in, all that stuff. Van Lith and Williams coming over, and people have expectations. This is like a college super team." But this person pointed out, hey, Colorado, they had a pretty good team last year. Matter of fact, most of their starters are seniors that have come back. So the team chemistry is already there. So, and they're improved. And if you look at their exhibition games that they played before the season started, they look great there versus the way that LSU looked, which they looked a little sloppy. They look like they're not there yet, right? So he said, it's almost a trap game, essentially. Hey, Colorado might be able to pull this off just because of the circumstances. And it took, and that's what happened. What you saw was a team that was seasoned and ready to go for the regular season versus a team that is not just talented, but they're young. And this is the first time that they're all getting together. None of these people are seniors. None of them, I think most of them, they might even have just one junior in the lineup, and that's it. So you're talking about a young team with young stars that are just now coming together that have no chemistry. So that's what happened. But at the same time, what's going on here? Hey, look, man, you're funny. Oh God, that's funny. But either way, point is, LSU got beat by a team that had better chemistry than them, that had older players than them. This is going to be a common theme until they build their chemistry up. Some people might question the off-season actions of all these star players with their NIL deals and all these other things they had going on. But Mark, I'll let you speak to that.
Okay, very quickly. Thank you for bringing it over to me. So with the Angel Reese stuff, though, specifically, you and I were talking about the fact of the matter is that Angel Reese, anytime that she's on the court, she is the big man, and Angel Reese did not perform against her assignment. Her, what were you saying that her assignment got? 11 for 15?
11 for 15. And then Angel Reese herself went 6 for 15.
Yeah,
so
Angel
she
Reese
fell on both sides of the court.
Yeah, so Angel Reese failed on offense and defense, and then you have these guys not showing up in this particular game. And I understand that chemistry is a problem and this, that, and the third. But here is where things get a little bit. Here's where I like a quote from Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts often talks about keeping the main thing the main thing. And this is just something I want to put out there for these women for these LSU women, is that yes, you have the NIL deals, you have all these commitments, you have these things going on, but you have to keep in mind what. And I'm not saying this is what happened in this situation. I'm just saying this is something that you need to be mindful of. That you have to keep the main thing the main thing. And the main thing for you guys, the thing that got you these NIL deals, the thing that got you this adulation, the thing that got you where you are to where people are paying attention to you is basketball. You have to keep that the main thing. And it's fair to wonder if all these different things that you have going on in this off season, your Hulu deal, your makeup deal, your
Fashion, clothing.
everything you got going on, is that pulling you away from your commitment to the game and into getting the game correct? Because that's what you need to be focused on, because that's what's going to keep the NIL deals coming. That's what's going to keep the advertisement coming. And because the talent level on LSU says that they should be running over people.
Yeah.
The result that we saw in just game one was not that. They got ran over.
Yeah, and the point that I was gonna make, Mark, that I made
get
earlier
that,
was,
and I'm 100% saying that it's just one game. I'm not saying that.
Yeah.
I'm just pointing out what could possibly be.
Yeah, and Ricky, I think it's a fair comment to say, not just for this particular team, but just anybody, the college players that are getting these NIL deals and having these NIL deals. We spoke to it when we were talking about Colorado in all of the extra nonsense that they be doing before the games, and we talk about Shador and the wristwatch stuff, but it's not just Shador. It's multiple players on Colorado that's doing these things. You know what I mean? And it's changing the way that they go about the game. It's changing the way of the attitude while they're playing, while they're away from the game. When you eating ramen noodles and you ain't got no money, you know what I'm saying? You tend to take practice a little bit more serious.
Right.
It's a fair thing to question. But yes, this is just one game. LSU will get it together. The same person that predicted this, they also predicted that LSU would probably gel around mid-season, which is what I would expect. They might gel before that, or they might gel well enough before that for them to actually start beating people because of the level of talent.
I'm sorry, continue. But
Yeah.
I just find it's funny. Ricky is responding to them getting the Colorado players getting robbed, and he said just on consignment. So you saying they shit got repossessed?
I got time for this nonsense, man. Oh man, that's crazy. But nah, like, hey, look, it was getting robbed in Jackson State. They thought it was, I don't want to say the word, but they thought it was a problem that had everything to do with HBCUs mistreating the people of the same hue as them. And lo and behold, in Colorado, they're getting robbed. Nah, man, they're just coming over here because they seen Sanders on the roster 3 times, and they was like, I know they got money. That's it. They seen Deion Sanders, Shador Sanders, Shiloh. They're like, man, these dudes flashing wristwatches at the game. If that's the watch he plays that he wears when he's going to the game, I wonder what else he got. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest, man. That's what it is, man. They getting robbed out here because of the last name Sanders.
Right. 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, man. But yeah, look, this is when it comes to this situation, like it just I think that LSU and Angel Reese, I think all these women are on the right track in getting women's basketball more notoriety. I think they are doing the work in a way that is going to propel the attention their way.
Yeah.
But in doing so, they also have to remember you have to keep playing well, because when eyes start looking your way, now that you got the eyes on you, you got to be good. Because if you go out there and be bad with the eyes looking at you, they'll turn away just as fast as they turn towards you.
Yeah.
And maybe even faster. So that's just something that's being stated. And Ricky, you are 100% right. Colorado they put themselves into Colorado male football. They put themselves into the situation where, like, they put a target on their back. So yeah, we did. And it is what it is. From a person that.
Go ahead if you want to bring it up.
I'm going to.
I got it.
From a person that's watching WNBA women's basketball, that shit's not going to change until the old heads leave the league earlier in the WNBA. They are wasting young talent on the roster.
This is we can talk about this. So here's the issue. The issue is the older folks are still better than some of that younger talent that's coming in. But
right.
in the NBA, there's enough spots, there's enough teams to spread that out to where the vets get to be vets, and then the younger generation gets to get ushered in. They don't have enough roster spots to say you have a world of talent and a world of potential, and you're gonna ride the bench until we can bring you up. There's no spots for them. There's just not enough. And there's not enough WNBA teams. All right, and you say until the older folks leave, but we're talking about some of these vets that you're talking about that are around. They're like 28, 30. You gonna tell them to leave? Like, I mean, teams have to make that decision. But some of these vets that you're talking about are also the faces of their team. Okay, so I get what you're saying. Focus on the younger folks and make them the new faces of the teams and making the new faces of the leagues. But with that said, yes. Yeah, thank you. See, Ricky said the older folks is why folks even watch them. They know them. They're familiar with them. Their legacies, man. Let me put it this way. Angel Reese and these girls right here, they're creating the blueprint right now as we speak, okay? And the individual advertisement, individual deals is what's it's going to bring all the extra eyes to them. They're marketing themselves as individuals, okay? Right. In the WNBA, they do not market the individuals as well, and the individuals themselves don't market themselves as well. So my thing is this: you take and they don't
figure that out, but she got to.
Yeah, they do this thing where it's like, well, I want you to respect me for my game. Guess what? Angel Reese has found a way to get respected for her game and have people enjoy the way that she looks. Right? She's able to balance. She's been bringing eyes to the game through her beauty and through her play. You can do both.
Now, only thing she needs now is to get a Beyonce or a Taylor Swift collab. She get a collaboration with one of them, and the WNBA is taking off.
Yeah, like that's it. See, and Jerry, that to me, the Aces is a bigger problem to the WNBA than anything else that we just mentioned.
Right.
It's already not enough teams, and then y'all got a super team. I don't like you. Like I don't like. Oh, the Aces won again. Oh yeah, nobody saw that coming. Yeah.
All right, but that's enough on that topic. I want to go back to the thing that that Troy wanted me to address about the Eagles before we got out of here. Where the heck is that question? I essentially know what he was asking. He was saying that how do we feel about the Eagles secondary and the Eagles defense currently going into the season? And I'm going to say this. Actually, let me address this real quick before I do that. Just so I don't ignore a comment. All right. The biggest issue they will have, though, is that women don't have the personality to carry this. If they get a villain or a Patrick Beverly type person, men especially will say it's not ladylike. And it's not, they don't need a villain type. They just need they just need a personality. They need I'm trying to think of an NBA equivalent to.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
They need the AI. Angel Reese can be the AI of the WNBA, where she AI brought the fashion of the NBA, and basically everybody people that weren't even in the NBA wanted to do what AI was doing. Like people that don't play basketball wanted to do shit that AI was doing. And if Angel Reese could do that type of stuff, I think that'll go for her.
Yeah. I wanted to bring this up because they're talking about personalities in people bringing that passion, that fire to the game, like a Pat Bev. I'm gonna tell you, they have that, and they just choose not to promote it. I watched it. One of the few people that I watched in the WNBA in recent times, Diana Taurasi. What is that person? But they chose not to promote that. So I don't know whether that's the men that are in charge of the WNBA that are choosing not to promote that. But
you could go back to Leslie. You could go back to Leslie.
Lisa Leslie.
Lisa Leslie. You go back to Lisa Leslie when she was dunking on people. They outlawed that shit real quick. Like that would have helped the league tremendously when she was out there doing that. But no, they said no. We're no.
But yeah, like I said, I mean, I've seen players play with that fire, and Diana Taurasi is like the perfect example of that. But they just didn't. They never promoted it. They never pushed it. They just kind of act like it wasn't happening. I can show you a million clips of her jawing at people.
I mean, listen, that man. I mean, that's enough of that because let's just face it, the WNBA, they ain't there yet. They not worth this much of our time.
Jerry just called that man Ichabod. Adam.
So listen, here's the thing. Eagles defense, right? Troy says, I knew before the game CD was going to have a big game being in the slot. Yes, our team doesn't adjust very well at all. But I think but it's not just the adjustment, it just comes down to the defensive game plan, period. I want to point out one thing. Our defensive play style is a Vic Fangio style defense. Bend but don't break. Vic Fangio is currently the defensive coordinator for the Broncos. Do y'all know where the Broncos are currently ranked on defense?
I know they're at the bottom. I know that.
Right. They're like 30. They're like 31. The Broncos are currently like 31, I believe, or some shit like that. And that's Vic Fangio himself. Arizona Cardinals. They also run a Vic Fangio style defense. You know where they're ranked?
They definitely down at the bottom.
They're somewhere at the bottom as well. Like here in the Eagles defense, Vic Fangio. Bad. Like it's all trash.
Denver Broncos are at the very bottom. They're giving up 28.2 points a game. They are dead last. They are 32.
Is it? Hold on.
Yeah. And then Arizona is 28th. Yeah. So those are two answers for you.
Yeah. So yeah, you said that what? Oh, yeah, that's right. Vic Fangio is he's with Miami right now. That's right. He was with the Broncos before. I'm tripping. But anyway, I'm sorry. But yeah.
Dolphins. Where's the Dolphins? The Dolphins are at 26.
Yeah.
So
excuse me.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I apologize. Dolphins. But yeah, 26. Still trash. Still trash. Eagles trash. Arizona trash. That defensive style is trash. It doesn't work. Teams have figured it out. What are the Eagles defensively right now, Sean?
Not in a good spot. They're in the bottom half of the league. Let me bring it up.
I know we're in the bottom half of the league.
Yeah.
So despite all of our sacks, we are still in the bottom half of the league.
21. 21st.
We are 21 despite all the sacks that we get in the game. We are 21. That defense doesn't work. It worked last year when teams were trying to. It worked last year when teams were trying to figure it out and shit like that, but it doesn't work this year. I pointed it out last year that certain teams are just going to dot that up. They're going to throw a bunch of short passes and they're going to figure it out. Dallas, what's his name? Dak figured it out yesterday. I mean, Dak. We saw Dak 347, right? We watched Sam Howell 397. We watched all these players get off against our. We watch all these players get off against us when it comes to the way that they play, because our secondary is just not. They're not performing with the zone game that we employ. It's something that us as a team is just not going to figure out. And the fact of the matter is, some things could be fixed. For instance, when CeeDee Lamb is in a slot, there's no way that you should ever have Eli Ricks on CeeDee Lamb. Eli Ricks was an undrafted corner by us, I believe, and there's no way that you should have Eli Ricks on CeeDee Lamb. Like, you shouldn't have an undrafted rookie on the number one receiver on the team. Like, that shouldn't be a thing. It should just be stated, hey, either Bradbury is following CeeDee Lamb or Slay is following CeeDee Lamb. And Slay isn't usually the type to follow a receiver. So Bradbury needs to be following him. Like, you got to do something here that makes more sense than having an undrafted rookie on CeeDee Lamb. Because as we saw, it ended up to the tune of 11 and 191 or something along those lines. Like, it's kind of simple things that could be changed that our defense just isn't our defense just isn't doing. And I don't know what it's going to take, but one thing I do know is that currently only one thing is going to work out if we continue down this road, is that we're going to lose in the end. The same way I felt, it used to work. I'm I'm not saying that it used to work. It's not going to work moving forward. It had its time in the sun, Ricky. You're saying 2019, 2020, 2021. Yes, 933. I get that. It worked at one point. It had its time in the sun, but
Well,
like all real things, people figure it out.
Yeah, real quick, Ricky. The only thing I'm going to mention is that, like I mentioned to Mark earlier, a lot more teams are adopting a West Coast style of offense. We're seeing it. Dallas, the Niners already do that. The Packers kind of do that. I would say that there's elements to that with Detroit. There's just a lot more teams that are playing a style of offense that counters that. So like you can't your set defense, your standard for defense can't be beatable by West Coast offenses, and then also West Coast offenses happen to be the offense that everybody's adopting. It's just it's just one of those things where it's like it's not that it's a bad defense in general. It's a bad defense because of the way the game is played today.
Right. It's a bad defense for the way people are adjusting to it.
Yeah.
Like I said last year when I watched the Eagles play last year, they were in the tops, right? But I said Ricky, you know this because you were in the fantasy groups with me, and Sean, you definitely know this. I've been saying the Eagles defense is going to be our failure. We're going to lose because of this defense. This defense is trash. And people kept saying, look at what y'all doing on defense. And I'm saying, no, this isn't going to work in the end, because when it comes down to Patrick Mahomes, in the zone defense and that style of defense, we are going to get dotted up. And they're just going to dot their way down the field. And when it came to the Eagles on Sunday, we would have lost that game had it not been for Dallas' own failures. Dallas, if Schoonmaker had just ran that route a little bit deeper into the end zone, that would have been a touchdown. If Dak was aware of where his footing was, that would have been a 2-point conversion. Dallas stepped into their own way to lose them that game.
Yeah.
We did and so that's but they, and also on the last drive of the game, they ended up down the field in less than 40 seconds. They were on the 5 or 7 yard line or 10 yard line, and then the only reason why they went backwards was because of their fault. They had a what was it? They had a false start. They had holding, a false start, and then one sack, and then a delay of game. That's what screwed them over in the end, was their own mistakes.
Yeah, but anything that you were specifically doing.
Right. It wasn't anything that the Eagles were specifically doing to win that game on the final drive. In fact, we committed a PI that gave them half the field. So this defense has to change. That's not going to work going forward. I think it has a place in spots. I think that style of defense has a place in spots of the game. You should play that way in certain situations.
It should be a tool and not the toolbox.
Exactly. Thank you. That's the perfect example. It should be a tool and not the toolbox, which is perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so with that being said, I don't see this team, seeing how this is what we've been doing for the last 3 years, and this year we keep winning games in spite of our defense. I don't see us changing anything, and I think that is something we're going to have to deal with going forward. The only thing that we can hope for is that Jalen Hurts and the offense remain great moving forward. Because on the bright side of things, in the Super Bowl, despite the fact that our defense couldn't stop anything in the second half, if Jalen Hurts doesn't fumble, we win that Super Bowl. So I guess we just gotta hope our offense can be perfect.
Yeah. I was gonna say, in saying all we got to do is play perfect, that's crazy. You can't live like that. Can't live like that. Nah.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, Jerry, I hope you know I've ignored every single comment that you've made about the Niners, because I mean, it's a bye week. It's a bye week, man. How you gonna talk shit when we just came off a bye week? We ain't even play this week, Jerry. I'll field your questions next week.
Yeah. But yeah, man, like I said, man, that's just it. I don't see it getting any better for our defense currently. I think we are just, it is what it is right now, man. I think we have the tools. We have all the players. I'm just going to lay this out. Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Josh Sweat, Hassan Reddick. That is your front four. Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham coming off the bench. You have Darius Slay, James Bradbury, Bradley Roby, Kevin Bayard, and Chalk Dog. Those are your secondary. There is no reason why, when I name all those names, you should be ranked 26 in defense. No reason. But yet, here we are.
Yeah, it is crazy. But I like what y'all doing, man. Yo, keep us alive with some hope. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if all else fails, maybe the Eagles defense will just give it up. You know?
Hey, but listen, Bradbury did have one really good play against Tolbert. Like that one play along the sideline, that was a good defense. That was good defense on that one particular play. And it came with the
comment. Dak was balling. Dak was balling, man. Like, I can't say nothing about that game. Like,
yeah, man. Dak escaped quite a few sacks, and man, Bradbury being Byron Maxwell without the sleeves is crazy.
That's funny.
The only thing I'm going to say here is that I'd rather have Bradbury be Byron Maxwell than him be what was his name? Kerry Williams. I would much rather him be Byron Maxwell than Kerry Williams. So,
man, Jerry need to stop being a hater, dog. Look, Jerry just he got that negative mindset, man. He just knows the Cowboys gonna let him down. Maybe he's right, but he over here saying, Dak played well, can't say much negative about him. Jerry says, I can. He overweight. This is wild, man. Like, it's a very unhealthy relationship that you have with your team there, Jerry. Very unhealthy.
Yeah. Kerry Williams was a walking PI, if anybody wants to know. Kerry Williams once had 7 PIs in a single game.
That's insanity. You gotta cut him. You gotta cut him out. Don't even go. Don't even go into the showers, dog.
I could tell you the game in which it happened. It was against the Chargers. Kerry Williams had 7 PIs in a single game. So yeah, there's that. But listen, guys, it's been 3 hours. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you. We appreciate your consistency. But yeah, it's been 3 hours. There's no effing way we're going any longer.
Yeah. F you, Troy. It's all your fault.
Link, like, subscribe, guys. We appreciate you. And for anyone that is watching, please rewind back to the beginning and watch the intro. I enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed it too. Oh, Nande was definitely better than Kerry Williams. I don't care.
Hey, the only person that can even, it sounds like the only person that can go in that conversation is Josh Norman.
Like, Nande was like, I don't care.
You know, I sat in the rain when I went to that Indy versus Niners game, and I had to sit on the sideline and watch in the first half while he committed 3 PIs for a total of like 80 yards while fucking Michael Pittman was cooking his ass. You know how much that hurt me, Mark? Like, I didn't even want that man on my team, bro. Like, yeah, no, Josh Norman is on. He sounded like he belonged in that Josh Norman category.
To be fair, Ricky, we don't talk about college in general. We just talk about things that stand out in college. But we don't talk about college in general. Part of the reason why is because I don't want to be overly critical on guys that are supposedly amateurs. But anyway, like I said, guys, go back and watch the beginning. And hey, man, I think Caleb is going to be great, and hopefully this will make him that much better.
Yo, man, y'all doing too much today, man. So doing this repo watch. Oh man, look, I got nothing for that.
All right, man. No, peace, y'all. Ricky, we'll set that up for next week for sure. Everybody else, I'll catch you guys next. We'll catch you guys next Tuesday. Look out for Week 10 pick'ems. So far, we've only gotten 4 wrong. We've gotten 4 wrong last week, 4 wrong this week. So I think we're doing pretty well when it comes to our pick'ems.
Yeah.
That video like and subscribe. See you next Tuesday. With that being said, remember, the views and opinions expressed on this live is strictly our own, and it's only expressed for entertainment purposes. Peace.